This episode of The Gaming Outsider is brought to you by eWin Racing, the home of the best heavy-duty gaming chairs. I can tell you from personal experience that I've never sat in a more comfortable chair at my desk. eWin Racing has chairs for gamers of all sizes, too. As a Gaming Outsider listener, you can get 20% off your purchase using our promo code TGO at ewinracing.com. eWin Racing, the best gaming chairs out there.
Hi, my name is Yuri Lowenthal from the game Sunset Overdrive, which not enough of you have played. So go, and then play it, and then listen to The Gaming Outsider, which you're listening to now. So, okay, listen to The Gaming Outsider, and then go and play Sunset Overdrive. Because maybe if you buy enough copies and play it and love it, they'll do a second one, which would be awesome. Thank you.
What's happening, GoCo? On this week's episode, Zack, Alyssa, and I discuss video games that we believe deserve a sequel, but never got one. In news, Square Enix has said that they will consider remaking other classic games from their library. And new games discussed this week include Layers of Fear and a port of a PC platformer called Scarf. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. It is Sunday, July 9th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends, Mr. Zack Parkerson. What's up, man?
Did you hear about Pluto? It's messed up.
That was a while ago, but yeah, Pluto, not a planet, is a planet. Big debate.
We were talking about Pluto before the show, and it's a heartbreaker every time.
Also joining us, Miss Alyssa White. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Pluto is still very much in my heart as well.
Yeah. I feel like it's just because we grew up with it, and it's, you know.
And they took it away from us.
You can't just take away a planet.
No.
Yeah.
That's a plot of some movies.
That is true. That's a Roland Emmerich movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, if everybody listening, this is your first time here. We are so excited to have you joining us. We had quite a following on TikTok this week, which was, I think, our biggest response to our topic that we've ever had. We got a lot of comments. Looking forward to that. But we're going to get into some of the games that we've been catching up on before we do so. But I want to remind everybody very quickly, if you can, please vote for us for the 2023 Podcast Awards. There's a link in the show notes for that gives you all the instructions on how to do it. You can nominate us for the granddaddy of all podcasts, or you can vote for us in the games and hobbies category. We're just trying to get the word out there a little bit and get some recognition. Personally, I am less concerned about an award as I am just getting our name out there and getting our podcast in more people's ears. So we've also asked that you vote for friends of the podcast as well, like the Hollywood Outsider, Blacklist Exposed, and my other podcast, the Packers Fan Podcast. So if you get a chance, please vote for us. Also, you've been hearing us talk about it for weeks, probably months at this point, but R2V2 2023 is happening on October 14th. It is the second time we've done a video game convention here in Rockford. It will be held at the Lyron Club, and we are bringing Sissy Jones and John St. John, the voice of Duke Nukem, as special guests. We hope that you can make it. So let's go ahead and jump right in. It looks like we've all been playing Final Fantasy 16. Alyssa, how's your progress going?
I believe I'm level 27, so I think I'm probably the furthest behind.
Okay.
But I'm also doing like every side quest available.
So am I. I don't know why. Every time those little green things come up, I just
I'm like,
do them.
I have to do it. It's a compulsion.
You guys are out of your mind. There's no benefit. They don't even tell interesting stories.
Well, here's the thing, Zach. Back before a world-changing thing happened, see me dance. There was two side quests that actually were really cool in terms of world building. Like, it was genuinely really interesting. So I'm just afraid that I'm going to miss out on one of those. Because, once you reach a certain point in the game, you can't go back any further.
Right.
So,
well, how often have they been as good?
Hardly at all.
Because I helped a guy grow an apple tree, and I didn't really feel a lot of satisfaction.
I have not seen that quest, and I've done every single one, so you must be much further ahead.
Or you haven't seen that, like, you deliver apples to people around?
There was a very sweet story attached to that apple tree.
I disagree, but
I'm trying to make things positive about it.
Maybe I did miss one.
I will say, after the event, as you call it, I do think the side quest gets somewhat more interesting, but I now only do, if they have the plus sign, I'll do them, obviously, and then I'll do any of them that are around your home camp, the hideaway. but otherwise I cannot be bothered. Which is frustrating because now at your home base, they have that character where it just keeps track of all the side quests for you, but they have a little notification next to them like, hey, you have some you haven't done. So now I can't even hang out at home without thinking about these notifications.
Someone just badgering you about doing stuff you don't want to do.
It's like being married.
And and not for nothing, but like I'm kind of a god in this game. It's weird that I need to go deliver stew.
I mean, you're a god in real life too, so I mean that makes sense.
Oh my god, thank you.
Yeah,
that's a big compliment.
Well, we were kind of having this conversation over text, Zach, because I had just completed a major boss in the game, which is probably like a good 15-minute fight. It felt like at least.
I would say 30, 40 minutes actually.
It was
awesome.
Nuts.
It was awesome.
It was very cool. And then the first thing that pops up when I get back is, hey, you got this side quest, and this guy wants me that has a bottle of vintage wine, and he wants me to go tell 3 of his friends about it so they can come over and have a drink. You're asking the guy that just took out this guy to go tell, like, it's 100 yards that way. Go tell him.
I've not come across this yet, so.
It's like immediately available after you get your 5th icon. If that helps.
I do not have 5 icons yet, so.
Okay.
It's actually your 5th blessing of an icon, but that's fine.
Yes.
Sorry, bless.
My 5th blessing.
He pushes up his glasses with one finger and says, Actually. Go ahead.
I was going to say there were 2 things I remember saying before that I wanted to correct. One, I remember referring to Clive as the saddest boy of the whole franchise, and he starts off that way, but he really does evolve throughout the course of this game, huh?
He does, yeah.
Yeah,
when I started, I'm like, oh, he's just kind of monotone and depressing.
Right.
But then as he went along, I'm like, oh yeah, he's got a little bit of a personality now.
I know.
Just wait until the fight that I was talking about. There's a conversation where I was like, you go, Clive. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I mean, Ben Starr, the voice actor's he's out of control. He's so good.
I mean, all the voice acting in this is great. So.
Yeah, but I really feel like he's exceptional. But anyway, I just want to say Clive evolves, so I wanted to correct the record on that. And then, the quests are fetch quests, which I complained about, but actually I was thinking about side quests in games. I don't necessarily hate fetch quests if there's a good story, but none of these have anything interesting to say.
Yeah.
There's no world building really outside of the ones Scott recommended, which it was too late for me to go and check out.
Did you watch the YouTube video of them? Like
I
recommended?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Weren't they kind of interesting?
Yes, you wish there was some kind of differentiation on the side quest objectives, or maybe only put the ones in there that are worth doing and get rid of the nonsense ones.
Yeah.
But I guess you had to fluff up the game somehow, I guess.
Well, and the frustrating part for me is I like being rewarded, even if it's like a mundane thing. At least I get something good out of it. I feel like I never get anything cool or making it worth my time in Final Fantasy 16. And that even includes like picking up stuff along the side of the road. It's always like, oh, here's 2 gil. Yeah. Oh, thanks, guys. I'm sitting on 150,000 right now.
I was going to say, in a game where gil does not matter at all.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter. I mean, I still go through the shops and I like upgrade my gear to whatever highest thing I can. But I feel like in other Final Fantasy games, it's always a hard decision for me. Am I going to take the weapon? Am I going to take the armor? Or am I going to just only equip 2 of my guys with weapons?
Exactly,
or what am I going to do? And now I'm only doing myself, and it's just never an issue. So here's the thing is, like, I feel like I'm talking so negatively. Anytime we talk about Final Fantasy 16, I just feel like I'm just crapping all over this game. I am genuinely enjoying much of this game. The story that revolves around things that are not nonsensical are awesome. Just the, and I hate to always compare it to this because everybody does, but the Game of Thrones of it, where it's just like warring nations, you know?
I mean,
they're not afraid of the comparisons.
Well, I mean, the developers even said in an interview they were directly inspired by Game of Thrones for the game.
Man, directly inspired is a way to say it.
I would say the comparisons become lesser as it goes on, but those first like 4 or 5 hours, like this is just
for sure.
Game of Thrones.
I don't know, man. There was one that I had today where a character called somebody else another name, and I was like, really? It was like 1 letter off from something from Game of Thrones. Like, it was
Talking about Sweet Summer Child?
No, I was talking about Dion.
Oh, okay.
What somebody calls Dion. I'm not gonna say what it is, but
no, I get you.
By the way, I really like that character. Dion is a pretty cool character.
A lot of great characters.
There are so many great characters, and they feel like they keep introducing new ones, and you're just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna fight that guy, and I'm gonna. Oh, they've got an icon. I'm gonna get that blessing.
Well, it's a very video game structure, right? You're going from one boss to the other, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
But I second you. Everything with all the characters and the way they interact is some pretty beautiful writing and a lot of complex relationships. All the politicking of the nations is cool. I kind of want a book that's just set like before Clive in this world. I think that'd be super cool.
That'd be cool.
Well, didn't they do that with 15? Or they did Kingsglaive, that movie that came before it?
Well, they also did a book, but it was an alternate afterwards. It was an alternate timeline ending. That was a weird book. But then anything that has to do with this world-ending villain, I don't want to say too much, but it is Final Fantasy. Guess what? Somebody wants to destroy the world. But anytime this dude shows up, I just I want to go to bed. He's so boring.
He really is. And he has a lamest name, too.
Lamest name, lamest like, the way he speaks is annoying.
Mm-hmm.
It's just...
I really don't understand this character's motivation. Like, does he want to destroy the world?
Well, I'm sure we'll find all of that out, later. It's just the mystery of this character is not interesting.
No.
I want to get back to I want to get back to the Warring Nations. I want to get back to the crisis of the Mother Crystals. I want the interesting stuff. I don't care about this guy at all.
Agreed.
Or whatever I'm sure, Clive's destiny or Kingdom Hearts fate will be.
Yeah. It's good. Alyssa, how are you enjoying it? Are you is your experience I'm not talking I'm not having a bad time with this game. I want to be clear. I really am enjoying it. I look forward to sitting down and doing it, and I genuinely enjoy watching the cutscenes. The ones that you can't skip.
Yeah.
Any of the side quests I skip, like I read the text and go. But how are you liking it?
I'm really liking it. The side quests do get repetitive, or they don't seem worth it. I try in my mind to make the story interesting, to feel emotions for these characters.
Mm-hmm.
So that, because my OCD is like, do the side quest. I'm like, well, at least let me make up a narrative in my head that goes along with this to make it more emotional, so I'm more invested. I do have to say, my fingers still hurt after every dang boss fight. Or even just like a mini boss. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I have carpal tunnel, but like, especially in my right hand, like after I'm mashing the face buttons, it's just killing my wrist and fingers. Like, it did that in the Devil May Cry games, Bayonetta, everything like that, so I don't know. Either I'm very intense about the button pressing or something's wrong.
That's interesting, because I know they actually had an update this past week, too, that lets you change the buttons to whatever you wanted to, or they added like 2 different control schemes or something. Because I guess some people were wanting to have the dodge button on the circle button instead of the R1.
Yeah, that's what I look for when I first started playing.
Yeah, I mean, when you play a game, that's kind of what you expect. That's what it was in God of War, right?
Your mind, yeah.
But
I was trying to find the Dark Souls control scheme, but it wasn't there at launch.
Well, I've done it for 30 hours now. I feel like if I were to go change it, I would just retrain my brain. I've gone too far. So
yeah. I'm with you. For the record, I also think this game is good. I wish I thought it was great, but just things get in the way too often. I love when I'm watching it. That's
which is a lot.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I was estimating it has to be like 75% of the game you're just watching.
Yeah,
but then you get so into it, and a lot of stuff happens, an exciting boss battle, a lot of character moments. Then all of a sudden, for some reason, the main quest requires you for 3 hours, like go find metal.
Yeah, the something about letting off some steam. There's like 3 quests that are called letting off some steam, and it's all about like going to find materials for like seriously 3 hours probably.
Yeah, it's insane. Or you go to the border and it's just about finding out who like the best pickpocket in the town is for an hour.
Right.
It's like, what is happening?
It reminds me of like if like a I actually wrote this down because I wanted to write it in a review if I write it. I guess I don't know who's going to write it, Zack or I. But it reminds me of what I would expect it to be like a famous filmmaker or a football player or somebody that makes a lot of money doing something that is important to society, Not necessarily like important to, in terms of food and all that, but just like from an entertainment standpoint, doing this thing that many people adore you for, and then coming home and getting nagged by your wife to take out the trash.
Right.
That's what these side quests feel like. It's like, why are you bothering me with this? Do you know who I am? That's really what it feels like.
And again, this stuff could be interesting if like the characters were written well, or there was some kind of interesting little mini story about these pickpockets at the border. But it really is just like, man, who's the thief? Oh, that guy's a thief. Better go get that thief.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there's no interesting twist to it, or interesting new characters to learn about, or anything. It just feels like a time killer.
Yeah, and I keep doing every single one of them. I'll tell you why I do keep, because you earn renown for doing them, and then when you go back to the, what do they call it, the hideaway.
Yeah. The Patron's Whisper or something like that?
Yeah, you get something, and I keep doing it, even though everything I get is worthless. Like, I got something that said, all right, your high potions are now do a lot more. I'm like, great, I never have to use them, so...
I can't remember the last time I used a high potion,
appreciate
but all right.
that. So.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I used one either.
The other thing that Zach and I have been going back and forth, and Alyssa, you'll probably be... You may have seen this on some of them, but we had the same conversation about the boss that we both fought more recently. So many of these boss fights remind me of other games, like older games. I'm like, okay, this is that game, this is that game, this is that game. Like 3 times now, is that Zach? Where we're like,
well, it's kind of cool. It's almost like every boss fight is an homage to some other property.
Yeah, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to boss fights now, just to see, okay, what game mechanic from another intellectual property are they going to throw in here? And the last positive thing I want to say is just how freaking gorgeous are these boss fights. I feel like they're the thing to look forward to now, even though the gameplay is, for the most part, the same thing. The hacking and slashing and dodging and using your magic. They throw a couple extra wrenches in there, but it feels like these boss battles, you are actually participating in the summon scenes from the older games.
Right, yeah. That's a good point.
And like those things that you just watch in other games, and now I'm actually an active participant in it, is just an awesome feeling. I mean, the last one really had some, and I haven't even watched all the series, but I know enough of it. Like Dragon Ball Z, just sitting there powering up, and all of a sudden this person powers up and attacks, and the other person powers up and they have a stronger attack, and then it just goes back and forth. But it looks stunning.
I was thinking about that like 2 boss fights ago, where I was like, this game is half Game of Thrones, half Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm really awesome. Enjoying it.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff I like. It's just so many things that are just like, you could see how like this would be so easy to just make a little bit better. It's like they're like, we have to make this a 40-hour game. Like, it can't be a Final Fantasy game and not be 40 hours. But I think it could have been 40 hours with all these needless side quests.
Right.
But it's just like, you do the side quest, you're like, boy, this would be better if the characters talked. Like if Jill and Clive had something to say, but they never do.
Which is weird, because I feel like there's love there, but I can't.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That's a spoiler cast conversation. But I'm just saying, like, there's no party banter. It almost feels like, because they can't always account for who's with you, they were afraid to write party banter during side missions.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, you'll just do the extra work then. You can do it.
Because they had that in 15, right? Because you were always with the same 3 guys.
Yeah.
The whole time. So there was just always like funny little banter, whether it be in the car or whether it be on the battlefield. It just, felt like you were part of a team.
That's what made the game interesting, because that combat was not interesting very much. So
I like that combat. I think they perfected it with 7 Remake, but I feel like that was the first start to combining action and turn-based in a somewhat interesting way. But,
yeah, misremembering.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I personally enjoyed it.
I remember a lot of you just held down attack button and Noctis would just keep swinging.
That sounds possible. I mean, you're just tapping the attack button.
No, yeah, I understand.
And Clive keeps swinging. So.
Right. Look, I didn't say this was a great combat system. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll have it finished up by next week so we can stop talking about it. But I am enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to wrap up, although I'm just kind of expecting it to pull a Final Fantasy and the end game of this is going to just not be interesting to me, but who knows?
My fingers are crossed because 15 also kind of went world endy at the very end of the game, but it nailed it. I thought Final Fantasy 15's story and ending were beautiful.
I love the ending.
Well.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
Zach, what else you been playing?
Well, PlayStation Plus was given out, included with your subscription fee, Alan Wake Remastered.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I thought, I better download this to make sure I can replay it before October. And then, of course, I was like, well, maybe I'll just dabble. So anyway, I'm halfway through the game now. It's so good.
Yeah.
I love the combat mechanics of burning away the enemy's darkness with your flashlight before you're able to shoot them. It's just like an excellent rhythm to the combat. Obviously the story is great. I didn't remember Alan Wake's kind of a dick because he's like a world famous author, so he's got like no times for fans or the regular people.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which I thought I was like, that's a really cool touch for a main character to kind of make them somewhat unlikable. And then through the course of the game, obviously he learns to enjoy the people of Bright Falls more. But it's just got such a good rhythm where during the daylight everything's normal. Well, as normal as it gets in a Twin Peaks type town,
right?
For sure. You're just walking around talking to people, but then at night you have these harrowing combat encounters, and then the game it ramps up so slowly where you're just fighting like 2 or 3 guys at once, and then you're fighting possessed pieces of a train. Later on, it's super fun, super great, and then obviously the whole mechanic of you finding Alan Wake's manuscript pages he wrote while possessed, and it warns you basically about things that are going to come up. Is super good because it adds the tension of like, you find a page and it just ends with, and that's when I heard the chainsaw, and you're like, when's the chainsaw coming?
Yeah,
it kind of puts the dread in you a little bit. It's super cool.
How does it look from a remastered standpoint?
I think everything but Alan Wake's face looks really good. They like touched up his face kind of too much, so I was mystified at first. I was like, surely I must be misremembering. So I booted up the backwards compatible version on Xbox Series S, and his face emotes way more in the original game than it does in the remaster.
How weird is that?
That is weird.
It is bizarre. It's weird that it seems like it happens every time they remaster a game and update the face. Because it happened with Tomb Raider and Spider-Man as well, where now they emote less because the rigging is different. So it's just at a certain point, I'm like, well, maybe just stop doing that.
Yeah, just keep things the way they are. Not everything has to be updated.
Yeah, he looks less like his the real life FMV actor now.
Oh, that's
which is also weird. But you adjust to it. It's good, but everything else looks great. All the lighting is improved, so it looks majestic now. You really kind of get the feeling of the fog rolling in and stuff.
That's the thing I remember most about playing Alan Wake originally was, that sense of terror when you're being chased or you're waiting for something to jump out at you and you see like a lamppost.
Yes.
And it just feels like this sudden calm. You're like, all right,
safety.
All right, got this safe moment here, which is really cool. So,
well, and it's an excellent mechanic because that's the only way you can get back to full health.
Oh yeah, especially if you run out of batteries and then you're like, lamppost.
Right. I don't think I've ever run out of batteries, but I do take your point. But it's nice to play a linear game, and also I'm 50% of the way through in 5 hours. How nice is that?
Yeah, I missed that.
But it was a good reminder of the power of linear games because they can control the scenarios you're in all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And because there's no leveling up or needless skill tree, they can define what the combat encounter is going to be. So well, I've got 3 shotgun shells and there's 7 dudes. What am I going to do? And it creates that tension of you're looking around for, little lights you can turn on, safety lights to maybe help you out. Or, like Alyssa said, you're hammering down the flashlight, you're burning through batteries. Oh, thank God I found this flare. I might be able to give myself a second there. And it's an incredible tension that is hard to replicate in, a lot of today's open world pseudo RPGs, because I feel like so quickly they can't ever account for what you have, so everything's a little bit too easy. Whereas this game is like a fun, fair challenge throughout.
Very cool. I heard an interesting fact about Alan Wake that I don't know if it's new information, like they did a docu-series on it or something where they were interviewing the developers, Because the game opens with a Stephen King quote, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Have you heard the story about this yet?
With that he licensed it to them for $1?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really cool. Like, you have to pay for it, and he actually sold it to them for $1, which I don't know. There's just something you wouldn't expect from somebody that is that high up the chain in terms of popularity.
Yeah, he's referenced a few times in the game, actually.
Is he?
Yeah. It seems like he's cool. An inspiration for Alan Wake, it seems like.
I think that goes without saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, and then also the episodic format is so fun where it has like the TV trappings.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
What's the name of that show?
Well, that's Night Springs.
Night Springs.
Is there, the opposite of Bright Falls. Well, because it is definitely just Twilight Zone. It's even got a Rod Serling style narrator. But I'm talking about like, every 2 hours it says end of episode 1 and then plays a credit song.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you start the next episode, it says previously on Alan Wake.
Even though you just played it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can quit the game for a few days like I did and come back and it's just like previously on Alan Wake. It's a nice little touch, and
I have the remaster and I'm going to replay it before 2 comes out because I need a refresher. I don't think I ever played the American Nightmare.
Alan Wake's American Nightmare?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was mostly just kind of a horde mode with some story. You learn one important thing at the very end, so you could probably just YouTube it if you want to.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Unless you're
YouTube
really into the combat.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's interesting about this remastered version? Because the original game had a commentary mode about like how the game was made and stuff like that, and that's how I learned that it was originally an open world game and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But in the remaster, they have a secondary new commentary track from Sam Lake, and it's basically just going into the Remedy connected universe and this actually connects to this at the Federal Bureau of Control, and this is a seed we're planting for Alan Wake 2 here, or you might not have noticed, but this is actually an object Jesse Faden finds in Control.
Oh, that's cool. Does it super like get in the way of like while you're playing though? Like, does it do they talk over the story or anything like that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They don't. I haven't seen any during a cutscene yet. I don't think so. It's usually when you're running around. But if Alan Wake has a narrated thought during that, you're not going to hear it now.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I mean, it's definitely something you would, if you're familiar with the story, you would turn this on. But it was still just like a really cool feature to add.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, has anybody ever done a connected universe like this with video games? Because there have been spin-offs and stuff, but this is like the Marvel method, where they're setting things up for future games in the one you're playing, or
the Stephen King method. But that's not a game.
It's pretty cool.
It is cool. Well, you're getting me excited to go back and jump into that, and thankfully I have the remaster, so I can at least earn some achievements at the same time because I'm that kind of nerd. So
plenty of trophies out for it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. So news is a little light this week. I don't know if this is why, but I just kind of assume that everybody's just waiting for the Microsoft FTC stuff to go away. So like nothing exciting has happened, but we do have some things going on. First off, some trailers that dropped this week. A game called Laika, Age Through Blood, coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. It looks like Excitebike if it were a 2D gear-gated game. Dave the Diver. It's on PC now. It's coming to Switch later this year. You guys need to watch this trailer. It is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. It's like every genre of video game slapped into one. Marble It Up Ultra is coming to all consoles, Steam Deck, and PC on the Epic Game Store. It's basically an update to the original. It's like a 3D Marble Madness kind of deal. And then Mortal Kombat 1 got a new trailer based on Lin Kuei. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yep. That's all the ninja characters.
Okay. And that comes out September 19th. In news, this week, Square Enix says that they would, quote, consider remastering more classic titles after the success of the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. A Rainbow Six Siege player who swatted Ubisoft Montreal's office got a pretty weak sentence this week. Kobe Bryant is going to be on the cover of NBA 2K24, and sadly, the creative director for Beyond Good and Evil 2 passed away this week. Zach, I have a feling I know what you want to talk about, but where do you want to start?
Oh, man, we have to. The creative director of Beyond Good and Evil 2 has passed away. Emile Morel, only 40 years old, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm in my 30s, 40 feels so young.
I know.
If I was 12, I'd be
Thanks,
like, hey,
man.
Well, but if you're 12, you're like, he lived a full life.
I mean, that seems old when you're 12, but when you're
you guys have been calling me old for the past year and a half.
I have never called you old.
Yeah.
I have just laughed at the jokes.
You are complicit, Alyssa.
Right. Guilt by association.
Yeah, I'm an accomplice.
His cause of death is unknown. His family is respecting the privacy, etc. Worked at Ubisoft for 14 years. But I think he took over for Beyond Good and Evil 2's creative director after Michel Ancel mysteriously disappeared 2 weeks before his sexual assault or sexual harassment investigation was set to begin. I wonder why he got out of there. But more importantly, like, dude, this game is cursed. Hearts go out to the family and this unfortunate death. But I'm like, you gotta pack it in, dude. This game it's burning through creative directors left and right.
Oh yeah.
I kind of feel the same way. Do people want this game that badly?
Oh, I suspect I'm the biggest Beyond Good and Evil fan in the room.
I mean, I haven't played it, so
and I lost interest as soon as they said it wasn't going to have Jade in it, Jade or Paige, because all you want, because the first game ends on a pretty major cliffhanger. So you're like, great, can't wait to see that resolved. And they're like, actually, no, we're going to tell the before story. So most Beyond Good and Evil fans I know checked out right around then.
Mm-hmm. But
then at least the game looked cool, so you're like, okay, I'll check it out for the game. But no, I don't think there are any existing fans who really want this game. I think some people probably want it for the cool spacefaring feeling to it. But it was chasing things that No Man's Sky seems to have done and Starfield is going to do.
Okay.
So the game it wanted to be has already been answered, and it was weird, because the first game had kind of an animated movie aesthetic to it, even though it was teen rated, and a little bit dark.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you remember, like the trailer for this game where they're like dropping F-bombs every other word and stuff, it was just
I remember.
It didn't feel like they were interested in making a Beyond Good and Evil game at all.
Yeah, they just wanted to do something else and decided to slap Beyond Good and Evil on it.
Yeah, which is bizarre.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It's rough to see somebody, anybody go, but especially at a young age, it just feels that's younger than me, guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm with you, Zach. I feel like this game is not going to see the light of the day. This is definitely not helping. Or who's going to take up the mantle? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I loved that first game.
Yeah. Alyssa, what about you? Any of these stories pop for you?
Well, Square Enix says they would consider remastering more classic titles after the success of the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. The board was asked about the possibility at a shareholders meeting recently. A shareholder asked, Final Fantasy 1-6 Pixel Remaster has been well received. Are there plans to remaster other past titles? Personally, I would like to play Xenogears, which, by the way, I appreciate this shareholder being like, I want to play Xenogears.
I just like that a shareholder knows what's up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of investors out there that just invest.
I mean, they're just shooting their shot right there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he should have followed it up with, it's weird I can buy a Xenogears action figure from the Square Enix store, but I can't buy Xenogears.
Right.
And the board member's response was, we will refrain from sharing information about new titles, but we are considering various ideas within the company and hope that you will look forward to forthcoming announcements.
That pretty much sounds like it's happening. We're just not going to tell you when and which ones. Well,
we know one of them, right? Final Fantasy IX is getting remade. Because that was part of the same NVIDIA leak that leaked, Tactics Ogre Remaster and Street Fighter 6 and Helldivers 2. Remember that leak from a few years ago?
Vaguely.
Dragon's Dogma 2 was in there, and Kingdom Hearts 4 was in there. All these games weren't announced yet, and they were all like, boy, these seem far-fetched, and they've all come true. So I think it's pretty safe to say, one of those games was Final Fantasy IX Remake. I think it's pretty safe to say that's coming. Or, one of the other games in that same leak was Titanfall 3, which at the time we would have been in development, but it has since been canceled.
Yeah.
So it was in development. It was an accurate statement at the time.
Right. But. So I guess this Final Fantasy IX Remake could theoretically be canceled. But every other aspect of the leak has been true. So we know FF9 is getting remade.
Okay. What other titles would you like to see remade from Square Enix?
Chrono Trigger.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. 2D HD, preferably.
Oh, like the Octopath Traveler games, like that style?
Exactly.
Oh, dude, that would be so great. I'm just like seeing those shimmer effects in my head as I'm thinking about it. That would be awesome.
That's the way to go.
Yeah. Let's see. I want to talk about this.
Well, what about Alyssa? Do you have any Square Enix games you'd want to see remastered?
I don't.
Scott over here just rudely blowing past you.
I know, right? The audacity. But no, I don't have a lot of nostalgia with it because I was very late to the Square Enix game. So, or playing their games. Get my drift. So I just want to play Chrono Trigger for the first time.
Yeah. Or Parasite Eve.
Oh, that's a good one too.
My uncle did have that game, and I vaguely remember parts of it, but I was too young when he played it, so I would like to play that for myself, actually.
I'm sure the opening of that game does not hold up, but at the time, that was one of the coolest freaking opening scenes to a game.
I mean, it's still cool, but imagine if they remade it with today's technology.
Yeah. It was really awesome. So, yeah. I mean, Chrono Trigger is the easy answer. Here's the thing that I want to make sure that they don't do limited quantities of physical versions of this game.
Not fun.
Those things are going for hundreds and hundreds of dollars right now in the collector's market, which just drives me crazy because it's just because of a scarcity thing. Some people actually want to play these games. I understand if you want to, have one for a collection and preserve it and all that kind of stuff, but make more. Like it's just...
right. Obviously, there's demand.
I mean, it's Final Fantasy. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just some random game that hardly anybody's heard of. People actually want to play this. And sure, you can get them digitally, but some people don't like digital. Which we're going to talk about next week. So just spoiler alert. But I just don't make limited quantities. I mean, I'm a digital guy anyway, so I'll get it digitally if it comes out. But I know I'm not everybody. Some people want to have that.
Why not just do an open pre-order like Limited Run does sometimes, where it's just we'll make as many as are pre-ordered, and I'm sure they print a couple extra for room for error, but just make it more generally available like that. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and
I mean, why is that? We've been kind of like against pre-orders in the past, because there's not really a reason to pre-order, but stuff like this is why some people pre-order just to like secure their copy, right?
The specialty kind of product, that physical game seems to be these days.
And I mean, doing that kind of thing, wouldn't that make sense? Like you're talking, because then they know how many to make,
right?
Like do that plus 40% or whatever. I don't know what the number would be.
Yeah, if you get 38,000 pre-orders, just print out 40,000 so you have some extras.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I want to talk about this Rainbow Six Siege player thing just briefly, just because I think there's a part of this story. This is an awful story, but I still think there's part of it that's funny to me. This, you guys all know what swatting is, I assume.
Yes,
of course.
This 22-year-old man, claimed that hostages were being taken in at the offices of Ubisoft. The building was evacuated, and some armed personnel were dispatched to the site. This guy got busted, and his sentence involved no jail time. He got 3 years of community service. And the funny part to me is that he had the audacity to ask Ubisoft to unban his account because he had spent over $1,500 on cosmetics for the game. They say, please unban my account. I know I did this awful thing to you, but can you unban my account? Who do you think you are, man? Just...
Hey, man, don't hate the play. I hate the game.
No. I mean, I don't care that you spent $1,500. That was his reason why, and his rationale as to why he deserved to have it unbanned.
No, I hear the audacity. I'm just saying, what do you lose by asking?
I mean, you're there. He was there at the time.
Yeah. What is it? Hey, man, do you think you unban me while we're at it? I think that's funny as hell.
It cracks me up. I don't think I could have I mean, I wouldn't do that in the first place, but the fact that he did that. Ubisoft refused to comment on the situation, and they said it was because of out of respect for the employees of the company, their safety and all that kind of good stuff. But it's just kind of nuts to me that it's 2023 and this kind of stuff still happens. That there are people out there that still think that this is okay. Funny. It's not funny. People have died from this stuff. Like accidents have happened. Police have to go into any situation like this assuming it's real. I doubt that these cops are showing up going, hey, you guys think this one's a SWAT or is this for real? No, they're
right.
Like in this mindset that this is real, and that is not funny. The fact that people have that kind of power in today's day and age just drives me nuts. What do you guys think about this sentence? Do you think that's a fair sentence, or should it have been more severe?
Oh boy, this feels like it's going to get political, isn't it? All right, I'll say, yeah, I think the sentence is fair.
3 years of picking up garbage?
Yeah, I don't think the answer is not jail time. I mean, I guess I don't know how it works in Canada, but the American prison system has a statistical reality where reformation does not occur from people going to prison. You know, whether you swing left or right, that's just a realistic. That's the reality of the numbers. So
that's fair.
So I don't think prison time is going to correct this guy. I will say, the community service does not seem adequate. I don't know what does seem adequate off the top of my head. Maybe perhaps some kind of, maybe it does take a massive fine with, a wage compensation where 20% of his paycheck goes to Ubisoft for 2 years or something.
Let me put something in perspective for you.
Okay.
And this is pretty much different, but somewhat related. And it's Nintendo, so go Nintendo. There's a guy that got sued for $1 million by Nintendo for running a pirating website, which does not physically harm anybody or put anybody in any physical danger, and they are garnishing his wages like 65% of every paycheck until that $1 million is paid off, which he's never going to pay off.
I feel like I would just jump off a building, but continue.
And that was $1 million,
right?
And nobody was put in danger.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of fine. Something that is going to...
Yeah.
Well, I guess I don't know what the 3 years of community service entails, because if it's like 20 hours of community service a week, I feel like after a year into it, you might be like, well, I'm never going to do that again.
I mean, 20 hours, I don't think it'll be 20 hours. That would be...
No, I'm just saying...
egregiously excessive.
Well, I don't know. I disagree. Would that be
half a work week?
Yeah. You go to work, right? And then you do community service for the rest of your hours and you go to bed. I bet a year later, I bet he doesn't think about swatting anybody again.
Is that even a thing? Like community service? Like, do people go around and pick up trash? Like, it's not happening around my house.
It's a thing here.
Is it?
Is it? Yeah. I mean, I had a buddy who had to do community service, but it was just cleaning up graffiti.
Yeah, here they're picking up garbage off the side of the road. And
at least that's helpful. Graffiti hurts nobody. I've never understood we've got to get people out there cleaning it up. It feels like such a waste of time.
And it's worthless because it's just going to be painted again. Like
exactly.
It's so stupid.
All that happens is the graffiti artist goes like, "Damn, they refreshed my spot. Awesome."
Yeah. Before we go on, I do want to talk about these trailers because I want to see what you guys thought of it. Specifically, Laika Age Through Blood is a game that I want to play right now.
That animation was gorgeous.
Oh man, that's how I feel about Dave the Diver. I want to play that right now.
Oh yeah,
Dave the Diver is just so eclectic.
I think it might be Frog Fractions 3.
That's exactly what Chris said.
I still need to play
showed it to
Frog
him.
Fractions 3 to get what you guys are talking about.
No, that was just a joke. It's a good math game.
I know, but I'm still need to play it.
No, I'm saying, yeah, this tells you nothing about Frog Fractions.
Okay.
Which is nothing but a simple math game.
Yeah, just, you shoot the fractions that match up. It's like Bust a Move where you shoot the letters that are falling down.
It's like 4 over 8, you stick your tongue out at it. It's good stuff.
You just, whatever equivalent fraction is at the bottom, you grab the one that, a fraction that's equivalent.
Did you guys know that frogs swallow with their eyes? I just learned this the other day. I thought it was fascinating.
They what?
What?
Well, after they unfurl their tongue to catch a fly and it keeps it in their mouth or whatever, they do a hard blink because it pushes their eyeballs back and it helps shove the fly down their throat.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting? I thought that was interesting.
That's your fun fact for the day.
Take that one to the bank.
But yeah, Dave the Diver, it started out just like it was going to be like a simple gear-gated game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to play that game. That looked cool.
And then there's, I don't know, Cooking Mama sections.
Yeah,
there's
like Stardew Valley and
a little bit of it looks like some like a visual novel kind of stuff going on too.
There were so many genres of game represented in this game. I kind of have to play it just to see how it all works because I think we've spoken in the past, Zach, about how we like the games where you're not doing the same thing for more than 15 or 20 minutes.
Right.
Like we did in It Takes Two.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Which, by the way, don't know if anybody has a Target near them, but I saw that game for $9 at Target.
Wow.
Today, so your mileage may vary based on your
physical reigns supreme.
Yeah, I actually bought 2 physical games today, man.
Oh, wow.
There was a sale at Target. Target has a whole bunch of deals right now. I picked up 2 Mario games for $20 each. They were like $30 off. So I got
what were they?
The Mario, the Switch version of Mario Wii U, like the 2D Mario game, and then Super Mario Party, which is the Mario Party that's got like a bunch of the old maps and they're all into one.
Yeah.
I was like, those would go over great in my classroom, so that was my justification to use my gift cards to pick them up. So I had like $30 in gift cards, so I wound up paying like $10 for the whole thing, which is pretty awesome. So
yeah, I bet Nintendo's crying right now hearing this.
So, all right. Well, moving on, let's go ahead and talk about Patreon for just a second. If you'd like to help support the show, do us a favor and head over to patreon.com/thegocast. There you can, it's basically like giving us a little tip. If you like what you hear, let us know. But we want to be clear. We do not want to put anybody in any kind of situation. If you cannot afford it, please do not feel any pressure to do so. But if you can do so and would like some extra content, at the $3 tier, you'll get an extra bonus episode each month. At the $5 tier, you'll get 2 bonus episodes each month. And even at the $1 tier, you get the episode a day early. And I've got a handy-dandy article I put on the website that kind of shows all of the content that we have posted on Patreon with hyperlinks to everything. So it makes it very, very easy to go look at past episodes if you'd like. But currently, our latest episodes, Kevin and I did a trade-off episode for Robotrek and Grandia 2. We had a really good conversation about those games. And then CB, Alyssa, and Zack had their spoiler cast for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And we've actually already recorded this, but by the time you hear this, you should be able to hear our latest Desert Islands Games episode featuring Marina Ryan from the podcast Quest Markers. What did we talk about for like an hour, Zack?
Yeah, at least.
It was such a fun conversation. She's one of the easiest people in the world to talk to. And I was really bummed you had to go to work because I felt like I could have just sat and talked with her for another 3 hours or something.
Yeah,
it was great.
She's awesome.
She's awesome. And I'm actually going to be on her podcast, Quest Markers, next. Well, I'm recording it in a couple days. It probably won't be available till next month. But
I'm
again,
so jealous of you guys.
Well, hey, reach out to her. She'd probably love to talk to you too. Patreon.com/thegocast if you'd like access to that, or if you just want to help us out, we would appreciate it. Let's go ahead now and jump into the new games we've been playing. All right, Zack, I got another week to finish Final Fantasy 16. Am I getting another break, or we got anything good coming out?
I guess that's up to you. Starting off the week is Exoprimal. That's Capcom's new dinosaur shooter. Go to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One and PC, July 14th. I only mention it's on Game Pass because I feel like it's essential to that game's survival. Because I'm not sure a lot of people are paying $70 for that one.
No.
Trouble Comes Twice. Might have been the story of my high school life since my nickname was Trouble, you know what I mean? Coming to PC, July 14th. Strategy game Jagged Alliance 3 comes to PC, July 14th. Lisa Definitive Edition, which is a kind of a sensation when it came out on PC like 10 years ago, probably. It's a 2D RPG coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, July 18th. Ember Knights comes to Switch and PC, July 18th. Turbo Overkill is a first-person shooter leaving PC and coming to consoles on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and Switch, July 18th. Viewfinder is a really wacky-looking puzzle game where you're using photos to change your environment. Comes to PS5 and PC, July 18th. XBLA Classic, Might and Magic Clash of Heroes Definitive Edition comes to PS4, Switch, and PC, July 20th. And then the latest in the Nobunaga's Ambition franchise, Awakening, comes to PS4, Switch, and PC, July 20th. Scott, are you just going to be playing some Final Fantasy 16 this week?
I might. It depends on if I can get it on PS5 or if it's available on Steam Deck. But Viewfinder looks outstanding to me. That looks like my kind of puzzle game. I know you explained it a little bit where it's a puzzle game where you're using photos to change the landscape or whatever. You guys have to go watch this trailer if you haven't seen it. It's almost difficult to explain.
I would say it is impossible to explain without seeing it.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like you come across a gap that you have to get across, and there's a photo just on an easel. You pick up the easel, and you have to position it in such a way and release it So now whatever is in the photo is in the background and now gives you access to whatever area. But it's not that simple. It's kind of mind bending, and I need to play that one. I did not realize it was coming to PS5. I would much rather play that with the controller, so I may check that one out because I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, I think it looks super cool. What about you, Alyssa?
Coming as a surprise to probably 0 people, unless you don't know me, Trouble Comes Twice, which is a visual novel, rang a little too true for me because these characters, like, they're still adults and they've never been on a date with anyone. In high school, no one was interested in me, okay? So I felt that pain.
Insanity. Pure insanity.
And then it was such a shock when I became an adult and it had attention. I'm like, what? I don't get it.
Well, now you get too much, probably.
I can never have enough.
All right, good to hear.
I'm laughing because of Scott's face, which people cannot see, but
I'm just imagining that scene from Liar Liar in the elevator. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody in the building's just so friendly. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, no one even asked me to prom, okay? I had to go by myself. Well, I went with friends, but they all had dates. I was the only one without a date.
Hey, at least you had prom.
True, yeah.
What happened to you?
I went to religious school, but dancing was the devil.
Oh, yeah. Because you got to leave 6 inches for Jesus?
Yep.
No, you can't even dance. Like, that dancing is seriously wrong.
I'm sure there's dancing in the Bible somewhere.
I don't. Yes, if they were doing it for God, I guess it was okay. I don't know. I don't want to get into it.
Didn't the guy bang his daughters in the Bible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but dancing's too much. All right.
Actually, his daughters banged him. They got him drunk and
That's
banged
true.
him.
Yeah.
Yes.
For God. Lisa Definitive Edition for me. I've been fascinated with this game for years. I don't know if it was actually came out a decade ago, but it certainly came out many years ago. There's 3 games: Lisa the Painful, Lisa the Joyful, and Lisa the First. This Definitive Edition has the painful and joyful games. It is a post-apocalyptic game where you play as a kind of a father figure character, this child, but the child gets kidnapped and you have to go across the wasteland to find her. But the game is cool because you have to make these incredibly difficult decisions that have permanent repercussions. It might be like you could save this kid from a coyote, but in doing so you'll lose your arm. And you don't have now you can't use 2-handed weapons for the entire game because you don't have an arm.
Oh, wow.
So, and this decision you have to make, or do you just let this kid die? You don't know the kid. But what's interesting about the game is, like, there might not be a ramification for that. It might just be you just have to live with the fact that you killed a freaking kid, or let a kid die.
So if you get a new pair of boots and your leg has been cut off, do you get them for half price?
No, but you can lose a leg and then you have to crawl the rest of the game.
The whole game?
Yeah.
You can't just hop along?
And it's like a 12-hour RPG. I don't know. I know you can lose. I know for a fact you can lose both your legs and you'll have to crawl around.
Oh wow.
Which is terrible.
Prosthetics in this world, huh?
No, it's like a Mad Max kind of world. It's just super cool. A lot of hard-looking decisions involved, and it doesn't look like it's very kind to you at all, and that the consequences are very real for your character.
Severe, yeah.
Yeah, and
I feel like
fascinated. I never thought it would come to console, but here it is.
Nice. I feel like that game came out about the same time as a bunch of other games that all had like a female character name, like Esther, and there was another one on Xbox that was just like it was just a girl's name. There was like 4 or 5 games that all came out like that same year that were just Lisa, Esther,
Edith
Tiffany,
Finch.
There was Madison.
Yeah, there was just so many games that just
Virginia.
Yes,
there's
Virginia.
that's one. Yeah. It was like 1 year was the year of the bow. That was the year of the games named after a single female character. So
today, and then we're in the year of the sci-fi horror right now, right?
Yeah, right.
Coming.
By the way, that Might and Magic Clash of Heroes game. That's a fun game. I don't know.
Dude, I loved it on Xbox Live Arcade.
The way your tone when you read it earlier, like it was a classic. I thought you were being facetious because I thought.
No, I just think it's funny that like Might and Magic's a strategy franchise or RPG franchise normally, right?
Yes, or or card games, right?
And then this is a spin-off that's a puzzle game, and it seems way more popular than Might and Magic has ever been. And it just it's like one of those games like Doom where it just gets ported to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just cracks me up. I feel like I see it every couple of years. Like, oh, here's it on Switch. Here it is on phone. Here it is on PS4, here it is on mobile phone calculators.
Here it is on your refrigerator.
Right. Yes. Yeah. That's funny. But in terms of games that we're playing that are out, Alyssa, you've been playing Bloober Team's latest, Layers of Fear. No longer Layers of Fears.
Yeah.
This is a... What is this product exactly? It's like remakes, right?
It's very hard to describe because it's pretty much getting Layers of Fear 1 and 2, their DLCs, and then this brand new story, and putting it all together. I never played 2, I have to put that out there. I have played 1 and the DLC for 1. But I'm still on 1 currently in my playthrough, because you start out with a new character who is a writer. She is a single mom. She goes to this lighthouse to write the story, and then lighthouse is creepy. She sits down to write, and then it jumps to the first Layers of Fear game. Okay. And so it seems like maybe she's writing these stories, which gives it a cool layer because she does have some narration while you're playing.
What an Alan Wake ripoff, guys, am I right?
Yeah, that's true. But Layers of Fear 1, I'm 3 hours into it, and I swear there are specific scenes that have been changed. Now, I could be forgetting it because it's been a while since I've played Layers of Fear 1. But it seems like certain puzzles have been removed, certain scenarios have been changed. There is a new tool. You have this flashlight lantern combo that you can use to burn away objects in the game to get collectibles.
Oh, so it is Alan Wake.
Yeah. And also in the first game, you now have enemies that can kill you.
Oh.
That was not the case originally?
No. In the first game, there was not. I believe in the second game there was.
Okay, so it's not...
But the first game, you never had the threat of death. This time you do. Which, if you were to be so inclined, like, the game starts off asking, do you want to turn that off? But I did not turn it off. It's not very hard to escape from the enemies. Just shine the light on them and they go bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the concept.
Yeah, Alan Wake. But I am playing this wearing headphones too, and that makes the experience so much creepier. Because you're hearing things and you're like, is that really behind me or is this in the game?
So I just want to make sure I'm clear. So this is the first game.
Yes.
And the second game?
Yeah. I think they're going to play like back to back.
Okay.
So right now I'm playing the first game with little sections where I jump back to being the writer in the lighthouse, and there's creepy stuff going on there too. I think it's just combining these games all into one cohesive storyline and making the writer be the person that's maybe in control of the story. Again, I need to play further.
I feel like calling it Layers of Fear was the right call then. I mean, doesn't that make more sense? And like, number one, how do you differentiate between...
Well, wouldn't Layers of Fears then make more sense? Is that what you said?
Or Layers of... Layer... Is it Layer or Layers?
It's
the game...
Layers of Fear, but it's the same title as the first game.
Yeah, Layers of Fears.
But originally this is called Layers of Fears, yeah, because it had both games, right?
Yeah.
Are you saying, Scott?
That's what I'm trying to say, yes. I just had I was thinking it was Layer of Fears. Like, it's so freaking confusing. Where's the plural?
It is confusing.
This name is nonsense.
But I mean, if people want to play this game, how many are going to accidentally buy the old version? I mean, like, I understand you can probably just look and say, oh, it's the 2023 version, but...
Well, I know when I had the game downloaded, it actually says Layers of Fear 2023 in the title, on Xbox at least. I'm not sure about PlayStation.
I guess you'd probably still have the same issue even if the plural was there, because people, just don't pay attention. But
well, on Xbox, it does tell you it's the 2023 version in the title.
Oh, okay.
When did the first version come out? Do you know?
I can't exactly remember.
2016. So 7 years later, this demanded a remake, according to Bloober.
I mean, it sounds like it's a collection of the two.
It's a collection.
But they cleaned it up because it looks, from the screenshots I've seen, it looks stunning.
Oh, it's a gorgeous game.
Yeah? Okay.
Looks really good.
And I've never played through them. I started the one and I just didn't get it at the time. But I don't know. I feel like I have a little bit more patience now than I did 7 years ago. So
yeah, sorry, I feel like we totally distracted you, Alyssa.
Oh, no. I don't know.
The rails. Is it So you played the first one. Is this an improvement, or is this just too different to really feel like an improvement?
I'd say it's an improvement. I don't think it feels too different. Just certain scenarios. But I would say this is probably the definitive way to play, because they have improved some stuff. I remember a couple of puzzles that I despised in the first one are not there anymore.
Okay. I guess you weren't alone in despising it.
I actually really liked the first game, besides the couple of puzzles.
No, I mean,
okay.
Yeah, but they got rid of the puzzles that you despise, so you probably weren't alone in despising those puzzles.
Yeah. I get what you're saying now.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd say if you haven't played the previous 2 games, this is probably the best way to play them. And I feel like the backstory in the first game is being explained more clearly, unless I'm just not remembering that it was explained that way originally. It's making a lot more sense to me.
I'm intrigued.
I wonder what provided the impetus to Bluebird to do this.
I don't actually know.
Yeah, I would love to know that story.
I know they collaborated with another studio to make this compilation or collection or whatever you want to call it, Anshar Studios.
Okay.
So it is a collaboration between those two.
So maybe because they're redoing Silent Hill or Silent Hill 2, right?
Yeah, and they're using the same engine for that as they did with this, which is Unreal Engine 5.
So maybe this is a way to kind of give people a taste, or a tide me over until that's done. But I don't know. I just don't hear a ton of people talking about Layers of Fear to know if there's a huge demand for it. I would be really curious to see the sales numbers, but after hearing you talk about Alyssa, I am intrigued because I never did go back and check it out. So
well, I did enjoy it. I would say probably if you didn't enjoy playing it the first time, probably still won't enjoy playing it because you're just walking around mostly, solving the occasional puzzle, picking up items to find the backstory. But now there's the addition of enemies that can kill you, and it's a flashlight lantern combo. I don't know what to call it besides that.
I don't know.
Burns away things and you can burn the enemies with it.
It's a flantern.
Yeah, flantern. There we go. It's a flantern.
No. What are you intrigued to see the Silent Hill 2 remake?
Oh yeah. I never actually had to play Silent Hill 2.
Okay.
So I really do want to play it. And I hope it's good.
I played the second one, but not until it was on Xbox 360, like when they did that re-release of it.
The HD collection.
And someone told me that was a terrible port of the game, but I never played the original to know. And I just remember not being as taken with that game as everybody else was. Everyone was like, the second one is like the one to play.
It was so bad they offered refunds anyway that asked.
Oh wow.
Oh.
So I would say it's a pretty wretched version of Silent Hill 2.
I didn't have any issues with controls or anything. I mean, I got through the game. It wasn't a struggle. I didn't have a bad time with it. I just it's not as memorable as the first one to me.
Yeah, and that might be the case. I know for that one they didn't have the finalized source code at the studio, so they use like some kind of beta version of the code. So it's not even the actual game that came out originally.
Oh wow, did not know that.
So that's why people were pretty livid.
Gotcha.
I was just wondering because I feel like they're getting a lot of heat, Bluebird team, for remaking Silent Hill 2. Like people aren't very excited for it. But I thought the medium was awesome that they made, and was pretty close to a Silent Hill game. So I'm somewhat optimistic. I just think Silent Hill 2 is a very tightly directed game. It seems like very, very dicey to remake that one.
You're making me want to go back and play the original Silent Hill again, even though that game probably controls like poop.
I have it on Xbox if you want to borrow it. If you
the original Silent Hill?
No, the original Silent Hill 2, sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, I meant the first one.
I do have that one on PS1.
I played through that game so many times. Like got the UFO ending. Like there's that was like in the early stages of the internet too, where like, if you wanted to find that online how to do all that stuff, you really had to look. You know what I mean?
You had to actually read through paragraphs of guides to find out what you're looking for.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because I am not ashamed to admit that I do look up stuff often if I get stuck on something.
Oh, I will too.
And I am so tired of punching in what I think is very valuable information or search criteria, and I got to sift through 15 videos first before I get a text article about it. Like, I don't want to sit there and watch your, like, smash that like and subscribe button.
Well, see, and then I feel like a third of the time when I do find a link to what appears to be a blog page or a web page, it's them talking about the video you're about to watch.
Yeah.
It's like no. I just want to read where I need to go.
I miss game FAQs.
Yeah. Yes. Well, those were a little dicey to sift through. You really needed a Control F to find your way through those. But
I miss the in between time where like the early IGN guys days where it was like a series of screenshots.
Mm-hmm.
Because then if I'm looking for something like in some kind of hidden item, just show me on the map where I need to go, and then I'll find it myself.
Right. That's all I need is a pinpoint location, and I don't need the explanation. It's like looking up a recipe. You ever look up a recipe online anymore?
You get their family history first.
Oh my goodness. It's like 14 paragraphs of like, well, my family really likes light and fluffy things. And so I was helping my daughter with her teddy bear, and she was just saying how much she wanted. Like, I don't care. Just put the recipe.
Look, you're looking up the video. We're like, where's the 3 gold necklaces? Like, and it's a 20-minute video somehow. And it's like, so I think the first few hours of this game weren't very good, but here's why we're looking for these necklaces. And hit the smash the like and the subscribe.
Yeah,
and then you have to watch them mess up all the time. It's like, no, just make a video where it's edited, so I don't see the mess ups and all that.
If you like this video, don't forget to download my podcast where I talk about Eastern philosophy.
Once in a while I get lucky and I find somebody that just makes a literally like 15-second video that just has a title card that says where to find the blank in blank game, and then it shows you, it does the map, it zooms in on the map, it zooms out of the map and marks it, and then thanks for watching, like and subscribe I'm okay with that at the end.
They are doing the Lord's work.
Oh yeah, I always leave a comment calling them a hero.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They are doing the Lord's work, as Alyssa said.
All right, so Layers of Fear, Alyssa, you're enjoying it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I'm excited to finally get to play Layers of Fear 2 as well. So,
well, hopefully they have a guide at GameFAQs.com.
Yeah, sorry for the rabbit trail there. I had to say that out loud.
So, Scott, you've been playing Scarf on Xbox, and watching the trailer for this game, it just looks delightful.
It really is. I was pleasantly surprised by this game. Which is funny because it's not what I expected. When I watched the trailer for this, which it comes from Uprising Studios as the developer, publishers Handy Games, I saw the trailer and I was like, I miss 3D platformers. We just hardly get them anymore, and when we are, they stray so far from what makes them fun in the first place. And I feel like this one was not what I expected, but in a good way. Number one, it's got a story. It's a slight story, and as bright and vibrant as this game is, it's got a pretty freaking dark story when you get to the end of it. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you what that ending is, but it is. It kind of ends abruptly, and I was like, "Whoa, that's the ending." It's kind of crazy, but there's actually it encourages multiple playthroughs, because if you get the collections, you actually get an alternate ending that is the quote-unquote good ending, but it's still dark. But anyway, on the surface, this is a 3D platformer. It starts out a little weird, like it's almost like your character, you're seeing your character in a womb or something. It's like gestating and growing, and all of a sudden you're just, I'm not going to say born, but all of a sudden they're awakened. And they come across this living red scarf that looks like a dragon. And it kind of like is your buddy. It doesn't talk. It looks like your little pet, right? And as you progress through the early stages of this game, your scarf winds up being your companion, not only in friendship, but also in helping you traverse the world. So you'll earn a double jump almost immediately. You'll come across these like slingshots. Mm-hmm. And your scarf comes off of your neck and then attaches itself to the slingshot and allows you to like propel across large pits or whatever. Then there's also like a glide ability. So your scarf attaches to your body and expands these huge red wings so that you can get across large gaps. And I just thought it was really cool. And you get all those abilities like in the first, 20, 30 minutes of the game or so. And it's a little sad because that's all you get. You don't get any other abilities, which is kind of a bummer. I was kind of expecting like each world to get one. You know what I mean? Like I get a new ability that I got to find and then use it to conquer the level. But what's actually interesting is the game's puzzles kind of often revolve around you getting those powers stripped away from you momentarily. So you're just having to solve puzzles without the use of your abilities, which is a little weird, but it doesn't, hinder the fun experience of the game. The puzzles are very, very easy to solve, and I don't mean like they're like a baby could do it kind of thing. Like if you ever played Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, you're gonna have a pretty easy time with this game. Lots of like sliding blocks and finding ways to hit buttons and all this kind of but they do the Ocarina of Time thing where you get to a new area and it kind of just zooms out and shows you the landscape of the whole thing and the different areas you have to get to, and then zooms it back in on your character and says, okay, go. And it never gives you any instruction. You just have to figure it out. But it never feels difficult. It never is like, what do I do? It's very clear what you have to do. And I just think this game is delightful. It was just very fun to play. Zach, you'll appreciate this in my written review. I actually referenced you. I said, this is a good weekend game. It's a game. I finished it in 2 sittings, and it would have been 1 if I didn't have a lunch date that I had to go to. I just sat down and plowed through it, and I really enjoyed it. If you're looking for a hardcore challenge in puzzles, this isn't going to be for you. This is a very breezy puzzle game, and somehow the game manages to still make those puzzles satisfying by the time you get through them. You know exactly what you're going to do. Even before you do it, okay, I got to do this, I got to do this, got to do this, and it never gets overly complex, and I still got that sense of satisfaction at the end. Almost like I knew what to do, and I just got to go through the steps, and okay, now I can check that off my list. It just feels really good. So, I really liked it. I was very, very surprised. I still kind of want like a hardcore platformer, like Mario 64 or Donkey Kong 64 or Spyro or Crash, those kinds of things. I kind of miss those, but this was a pleasant surprise in terms of I wasn't expecting it to be that. So there you go. Scarf. Got to give a shout out also to Evolve PR. They hooked us up with both Layers of Fear and Scarf for review purposes. So thank you very much. All right, before we get to our topic of the week, which I think is going to be a fun one, I want to give a shout out to our new Facebook members who found our community at facebook.com/groups/thegocast. I want to say hello to Jeffrey Myers. He's actually going to be a vendor at R2V2. And also somebody by the name of Artemox Art. Also, our Discord server is still up and running. Got great conversations going on over there. There's a link for that in the show notes. Please head over there. Also, drop us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It really does help us get our voices in the ears of other people. We do want to expand the show as much as possible, and that does help. Lastly, our website, thegamingoutsider.com. That's where you can find all of our episodes as well as all of our written content. And there you'll find Rel's written review for Ravenbound, Kevin's written review for Stray Blade, Alyssa's written review for Inner Ashes, and my written review for Scarf, which I believe actually published today as of this recording. And I think by the time you hear this, our review for Tiny Thor will also be up by Chris Owen. So be sure to check that out. Again, thegamingoutsider.com. All right, we're going to go ahead now and jump into our From the Outside In topic. This week's topic comes from a couple of listeners who actually had a suggestion for us to do as a topic. Jason West and Cesar Romero, or Cesar, I'm not sure if it's Cesar or Cesar, were kind enough to give the following comments. This is what they said. Cesar said, a game that should have gotten a sequel. He said, Dark Sector, or my all-time favorite, Onimusha. Like a new game, not a reissue of the original one like they already did. Jason West's comment also was, games that should have got a sequel or reboot. Oni and Shadowrun Magic and Guns version are on my list, but where is a sequel to Def Jam New York, Mutant League Football, and a reboot of True Crime? So those are the examples that Mr. Romero and Mr. West gave us, but I want to hear from you guys. What games that never got a sequel do you think need one? Zach, we're going to start with you.
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank these two celebrities for writing in. Cesar Romero, obviously the Joker in the Adam West Batman TV show, And then Jason West, co-creator of both Call of Duty and Titanfall. I appreciate you guys coming by.
I did not even make that connection.
I didn't either.
Really happy to have you guys. As for me, I think a few of them are going to come up in the comments below. But a couple of the other ones that came to mind when you brought up the topic was Darksiders 4 came to mind right away.
We're missing the fourth horseman, right?
Right. Well, yeah. And he was playable in. Do you remember Darksiders Genesis, the top-down shooter kind of game? So Strife was in that. He hasn't had his own game, but you could use that as an excuse to say, "Hey, look, you kind of had a game. Let's just do the one where they all team up now. Let's finally resolve that cliffhanger from the first game."
Oh, so just skip the fourth one centered just on that one character and go right to
I'm saying, yeah, you could use Darksiders Genesis. That's enough of an excuse for me. If it gets us a game where they're finally like talking and interacting,
gotcha,
and being siblings. I don't need it to be a 4-player co-op game personally. Just let's alternate between them during the adventure.
Yeah,
let's bring the story to the close. It's time.
I like it. I bet it would be rough to get all those voice actors back though together, right? Like Sissy Jones did Fury,
mm-hmm. And then Liam O'Brien was War. Can't remember the voice actor of Death off the top of my head, so it makes me a jerk, I guess.
I didn't play 2. Which one was 2?
Yeah. That was the one with Death.
Yeah.
That was a kind of Diablo style one.
Oh,
I'm sorry, it was third person.
Yeah.
Dungeon crawling, but it had a very in-depth loot system.
Yeah. Never finished that one. I never played that one. Never finished 1. Can you believe that?
No, I cannot. It's a Zelda game.
I know. Like straight up Zelda. You even had a freaking boomerang.
It's more Zelda than Zelda is now.
Yeah, that's a good point. I gotta write that one down. I gotta write
Darksiders. Yeah, maybe you should play it just so you can go down memory lane and play some.
I mean, after I finish a Zelda game, I'll just go play another Zelda game because I gotta go back to Tears of the Kingdom at some point.
If you're hungry for a traditional Zelda, that's the only way you're gonna get it,
right? Yeah.
Also, obviously, Dragon Guard 4. Obviously, I'd be very much down to see a fourth Dragon Guard game.
Mm-hmm.
We know they hired writers for Nier 3, and then it's just been 6.5 years. So I don't know what's up there.
There's no way that's not going to happen with the success
of course.
Of the last one.
I was just surprised they're taking so long.
Yeah.
And will it be platinum or not? Either way, Dragon Guard 4 would be cool. Just to have that more medieval angle to that universe again. I was looking at my shelf and I was like, you know what I could really go for? Evil Within 3. Because I thought Evil Within, the first one was good, not great, but I thought the Evil Within 2 was excellent. A lot of creepy stuff going on in that game. It had these interesting segments where you would just be like plopped in a whole neighborhood, but you could go into each and every house and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it was a cool semi-open areas for survival, but the way it was set up with these, like the houses would have traps or be all the monsters you could stealth around or not. It was very cool.
Nice.
Much approve. And then last one before I hand it off to you guys and we get into the comments, Shadow Complex 2.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
I love Shadow Complex.
Shadow Complex is exquisite. It's one of the best gear-gated games I've ever played. I loved it, and I could easily go for more of that Nolan North, tinge adventure. Yeah, just a great game. Doesn't get enough recognition for what it, because it was huge when it came out, right?
It was. I think it got kind of swept under the rug because of politics.
Oh, because of Orson Scott Card's involvement.
Oh yeah.
A good point, but when I was thinking about this topic, I was trying to think of games that I want like an actual sequel to, not a reboot or a remaster or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I want games that I want the next numbered entry, and yeah, dude, give me Shadow Complex 2.
Dude, I want to go back and play that game now. That was a fun game.
It was.
It was so good.
I feel like that was one of the first gear-gated game like that where there was stuff going on in the background. Like it was a 2D game, but the world looked 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
like
you could shoot at the scaffolding behind you and
dude.
stuff. Yeah,
I just remember thinking that was so cool back then.
Yeah, I remember 100%ing that game, and I don't usually do that for gear-gated games personally, not 2D ones rather. But there was something about that game that was truly quite special.
Nice. Any others?
No. It's all Alyssa's turn. She can talk for a while.
All right, Alyssa, go ahead.
Well, I've always wanted a sequel to Bully, because I adored that game. I tried to get every single achievement in it when I played it on. I think I played the 360 version, and that was the Scholarship Edition, I believe. I don't know. I just really loved that game for some reason. It was so much fun.
No, I think there's so much room for improvement in a sequel too, with more classes and a new character and stuff. Maybe you could be a girl this time beating up bullies.
But this game also had. Do you remember that the game had achievements or trophies? If you kissed a certain amount of boys and girls, you got.
I do remember that.
Separate.
Yeah.
Have its time there.
That's absolutely true. Yeah,
I didn't know that. I've never played it.
It's fun.
Wow.
It's basically kind of Grand Theft Auto, but in a was it middle school?
No, it's high school.
High school.
Yeah,
I feel like it's Kevin Honigford, our producer's worst nightmare. He said in a previous episode we did that he hates games that like always start out in a school, like Persona or Final Fantasy VIII. He just like anything that's this whole thing's in a school, man.
Yeah. Well, you don't start out in the school. You get sent to the school because you're a delinquent.
Ah, nice.
Right. Well, and that one more of the city opens up every.
Yeah, you can ride your bike out.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool because it goes through a whole school year, so you're seeing the town get all decorated for Christmas and stuff,
and Halloween and. All
Should I go back and play it?
You can go on dates to the boardwalk during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I think so, man. I really do think it is ahead of its time in a lot of ways. I think you're going to see a lot of stuff in Bully where you're like, man, why hasn't anybody thought to do this again?
I own it. It's a game that it was on sale one time. I'm like, I'll play that sometime, and never did. So,
and it's just a bunch of kid hijinks. I remember the news at the time was like, oh, it's a Columbine simulator. But the worst you can do is trip kids with marbles.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do much. I think you could do wedgies, couldn't you?
Yeah, you have wedgies. It's one of your finishers during combat is giving kids wedgies, which is delightful. I think the most dangerous weapon you have is a bottle rocket launcher where you can shoot kids with bottle rockets.
What, the news doesn't like video games? What?
Well, the news just invents things about video games. What?
Yeah, wasn't that this week too? Like the president of France was quoted as saying, blaming video games for all the violence going on over there.
The uprising?
Yeah.
And it's like, guy, have you looked at the history of France?
Yeah. Did you see Les Mis? I mean, it's a lot of crazy stuff going on over there. And not getting a lot of coverage over here, which is weird.
Yeah.
If that happened here, it would be all we're talking about.
They don't want to give us any ideas.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right, Alyssa, do you have any others on your list?
I do. I would love to see a sequel to Bulletstorm. I adored that game. I don't really remember the story that much, but the action, just
the gameplay was so great.
Just the creative kills were so much fun. I never got to play as Duke Nukem because I played it before that version came out. But I mean, I would just like to go back and be able to do the creative kills in different areas.
But in the sequel, could we get some dialogue that's not written by a 13-year-old?
Yeah.
No, isn't that part of the charm?
I can't decide. Like, it was, I feel like they've ran out of ways to put expletives together in creative ways. In the first one.
I remember them saying a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word on the show. But
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. But Alyssa, you never got to play the Duke Nukem version, huh? You never got to play Bulletstorm with Balls of Steel.
No, I did not. I never got to play that one. I know. Don't tell John St. John. Okay. I'm not alone.
Well, now I hope he doesn't listen to this. Yeah.
Is there a physical version of that game? Because I may just buy that for a twofer to go play that version of it. And get
I don't know if it'd be a twofer, but I'm sure there's physical copies.
No. I mean a twofer that I could play it and that I could get it signed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure. I think it released physically. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know Bulletstorm did. I meant the Duke Nukem edition.
Because I think it came to PS4, right?
Yeah, I think it was released physically.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to find a copy of that because that would be pretty cool. I seriously bought like 12 copies of Duke Nukem games just to have them for R2V2. But
I feel like if you give him Duke Nukem Forever, it's gonna be like a PTSD moment.
I mean, his part of it probably wasn't a problem.
I don't know. He probably had to re-record every couple of years. Like, hey, actually, we're rebooting it entirely.
Yeah. Hey, remember that game where you like spread a turd all over the bathroom in the opening scene?
What the hell am I doing?
I didn't even play the game, but I watched it on YouTube, and I remember that moment. Yeah.
There's a part where there are just random mammary glands on the wall.
Yeah. I watched the entire game on YouTube.
And he's like slapping them. They're purple, and he's slapping them around. Yeah.
What a weird game.
Yeah. I beat it, though. That last boss can kiss my butt.
Yeah. I did not beat it, as stated.
Well, maybe you should get good.
Or start it at all, probably.
Oh, you didn't start it at all?
Now
I feel bad.
I played some of it. It lost me at a certain point.
We keep talking over you, Alyssa. Go ahead.
It's okay. I had one more, and I know it was mentioned by a couple of people in the comments, but LA Noire, just because that was the game that got me back into gaming after I had a difficult time when I was, I think I got back into gaming when I was 19 or 20.
Nice.
That was the first game I played, and without spoiling anything, it would have to be probably a different setting, but, I liked the solving the murders. You could basically frame the wrong person. I would like if they could improve, the doubt option, because sometimes that would get you in trouble anyway. But I had a lot of fun with that game, and it led me to where I am today, still playing games. So I would like to see some kind of follow-up. It doesn't have to be a direct sequel. But
I enjoyed that game, but I feel like I was good at the end of that one. Like I kind of expected that to be like a thing that was just somebody was going to pick up and run with it. It was going to, in other games, and I don't think I've ever seen that mechanic done in the game ever since then. But
I really wanted their. I do very much want an LA Noire 2, and I'll talk about it later because somebody wrote in with a comment. But I really wanted to play the sequel they had in development at the studio. Not a sequel, but their next game, Whore of the Orient.
I remember that title.
Oh, yeah. I remember the title,
I think it was you're played as a cargo ship or something like that, and you'd be going to China and stuff. It looked very cool, and it looked, like an evolution of the mechanics they had there.
What happened to it?
And I really wanted to play it. I guess the Team Bandai just couldn't find the right publisher for it, because it sounded like Rockstar didn't want to work with them again. And no one else wanted to publish a game with whore in the title.
Like WHORE?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see
tough
that problem.
Yeah, but I remember a very brief interview with Brandon McNamara, the head of that studio and the creative director of LA Noire, and he was like, I don't care what it takes, I'm not changing the name. So for years, I'm like, I wonder if that was, because it seems hard if you're EA to be like, yeah, we'll publish this game with that word in the title.
Yeah, it's a hard sell.
We'll put that on a Target shelf. That'll go well. They couldn't deal with a squirrel cursing years ago, but yeah, I'm sure
parents will love this.
Yeah, that'll be great.
I want to go fast forward 20 years in the future and see what titles of games are, in 2043, and be like, oh, remember when Whore of the Orient was a problem?
I hope it gets like anime where they describe the entire premise in the title.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the time I went back to 1940s out Los Angeles and became a vice detective. That way I could more easily cheat on my girlfriend.
I mean, it tells you the whole plot. That's why they do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, my list. I'll go through mine real quick. The obvious one that I put in the video that we did on TikTok for this. I want another gun. I don't know why that hasn't happened. I want to play that game again so bad. Unfortunately, it doesn't work great on my Steam Deck. I'm going to have Kevin take a look at it and see if we can get that to work. But
unfortunately for one, Neversoft isn't around, so that would be unfortunate.
I don't know why, man. That game was so perfect. It was like a perfect blend of open world and arcadey action, and it didn't feel overwhelmingly large. It just felt very doable.
Well, I wonder from Activision's perspective, it's just like, well, how are we going to outdo Red Dead? But to your point, it was a very different feel, much more arcadey, looser, a little bit, because Red Dead is trying to be a very realistic sort of game.
Yeah.
This game was about finding you're looking for El Dorado or whatever, right? Like there's gold, gold. Like it was a little bit more outrageous, and it was fun in that regard.
I remember just even going around and finding all the gold, not mines, but like the little piles of gold.
Yeah, I had fun with those. I remember doing that for that 100%.
And I feel like that was the first game to get horse mechanics right too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Damn, I gotta play Gun, man. What the hell?
I know, right?
Oh my god.
I also had on my list a weird one, but hear me out. I want another Blast Core. Do you remember Blast Core on Nintendo 64? Yeah. If you guys listening have not heard of this game, it's really stupid. It's stupid, but it's such a clever idea. There is a missile truck that has like the driver passed out or whatever, and is just driving through towns. And so you are hired. You are a member of the Blast Corps, and your job is to clear a path for this thing if it hits a building or anything that's going to blow up. So you're just more or less demolishing buildings with bulldozers and dump trucks and all this equipment to clear a path until this thing gets to the finish line. And it was a game I'd never played before. Could you imagine like a newer one like that doing that in like 3D? Like you bring in the Red Faction guerrilla mechanics for, you know what I mean? Like I just think that would be, I don't know why it hasn't happened. That just seems like an obvious answer to me. So yeah, Blast Core was on my list. I've also got Braid. Why did we never get another Braid? Like the whole idea of, having to rewind stuff to solve a puzzle. I just thought that was really cool.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of an open and shut exploration of that mechanic into its storyline, right?
You could figure a way around it.
There could be a good knockoff where someone just steals the mechanic.
They probably have, and we just haven't seen it because they got sued and shut down. But
or it's just they couldn't market it too heavily because then Jonathan Blow might notice.
Yeah. That's another whole aspect of it. That's probably why we didn't get one. But
wait, is he bad? Is he doing?
Oh no! I'm thinking Phil Fish. My bad.
Oh yeah,
they were both in that movie.
Indie game,
the movie. Yeah, and I got them mixed up. So,
but Jonathan Blow seems, pretentious enough where he would not smile favorably upon someone taking his mechanic.
Yeah, probably not. This one is interesting. If you listen to the opening of the episode, you can probably guess what this one is. I know you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, but this one genuinely surprises me that we did not get a sequel because I thought it did really well. Sunset Overdrive.
Oh yeah.
I love Sunset Overdrive, and I thought it was a lot of fun. The whole grinding mechanic and shooting stuff, and it being like this, what was it, like an energy drink? It was the evil corporation, and I just thought it was great. I don't know why we didn't get one, and neither does Yuri Lowenthal. So he was. Dante's Inferno is another one I would like to get a sequel of. I know the story is kind of done in terms of.
Whoa, what about Dante's Purgatorio?
Oh, well, shut my mouth. I did not realize there was another book, but or epic poem, I guess you should say.
Yeah, well, the Divine Comedy is in 3 parts.
Oh, so there is plenty more material there.
Inferno, Purgatory, and then Paradise.
I'm assuming that game did not do well and probably was, got a lot of heat for.
I think it did so well. I just think, to the heat you're talking about, the juice might not have been worth the squeeze.
I heard that said somewhere in a movie I saw this weekend, and I'd never heard that expression before.
Did you watch The Girl Next Door? Because that's where I heard it.
I did.
Yeah, dude, me too.
That's so weird that we both watched the same random movie.
That's awesome.
Elisha Cuthbert, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's so weird that we both watched that random movie. It just
was
like
amazing. Yeah, I'm quoting Timothy Oliphant over here from.
I didn't even know Timothy Oliphant was in that movie until I was halfway through it. I'm like, his character is awesome in this movie.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, I was obsessed with that dude when I was like 13. I was like, this guy's the coolest guy ever.
Anyway,
that's awesome.
That's so random. And you knew exactly what movie I was talking about. That's amazing.
Boy. Well, I watched American Pie for the 4th of July, so I was like, well, I got to get some more sex comedies going now.
I mean, between that and I was talking about Sex Drive with my friends. Yeah. I feel like that's the most underrated teen sex comedy of all time. Like nobody ever knows that movie.
Dude, it's Ronald from Jury Duty's one of his top 5 favorite movies ever.
But he didn't know. He didn't know who.
Dude, James Martin. I love Alyssa's just. Sorry, Alyssa. I don't know what's going on over here.
Yeah, I'm just. It's not my genre. So.
Oh, you've got it. You've got it. That movie's genuinely clever and funny. What's his name that plays the Amish guy?
I don't know.
The dude from Robot Chicken, Seth Green.
Seth Green, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Seth Green plays the Amish dude. He's like, oh, good luck with your future ride, spaceman. Anyway, The last one on my list is...
Oh, God.
I know you can't do a sequel to this one, probably, but it's more like me wanting another style of this game from the developer. I want Enslaved Odyssey of the West. What a great story that was. Nice short platformer with some action. Great performances. Can we just get more games like that, please? It's okay to make 6-hour games, guys. I promise you.
Yeah, or even 10-hour games.
Yeah.
We'll pay $40-$50 for them. We really will, I promise. Just please make that happen.
I am more likely to play a 6-hour game 10 times than I am to play a 60-hour game once.
Well, I mean, ideally they want you to get through that game so that you can buy the next one, right? So they don't care how many times you play it. Or
no,
do they?
That's what I'm just trying to explain. Because the pacing is better. If the story is tighter and the gameplay is tighter because of that, I'm more likely to want to replay it and spend time with it that way.
Yeah.
Than I am playing a bloated game where I'm finding metal for a shielding of my boat.
Yeah. That's fair. That's a good point. All right, so we all got ours in. Let's go see what the community said. I'm going to start things off with Grant Henry over on Facebook. He said Metal Arms 2. The original was an adorable third-person platformer shooter where you could hijack robots. They built a multiplayer mode with huge maps, but the game only had local multiplayer. My brother and I still spent a huge amount of time on those maps, even though they were way too large for only 2 players. It reviewed well, but didn't sell enough. However, Blizzard liked Metal Arms so much they bought the studio and handed the development They handed the development of StarCraft Ghost to that team. Ghost was eventually canceled, of course, and the team members were absorbed back into Blizzard. I still go back to Metal Arms on occasion, and a sequel with proper multiplayer using their hijack mechanics would have been incredible. Blizzard apparently acquired the trademark back in 2014, but I can't see another one happening. Could you see another one happening, Zach? I don't even know this game very well.
No, I think a remaster is possible and should happen, but yeah, I don't. I did like Metal Arms Glitch in the System. I do distinctly remember the maps being way too large for 2 players.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Like that really comes to mind playing with my brothers, but yeah, I think it would be super cool. It's a third-person shooter with a bunch of cool little cute robot characters. What's not to love? You know, yeah. I don't think Metal Arms 2 is likely, but you know, put Glitch in the System on modern consoles, $30. I could see that doing pretty well.
All right, I like it. Who's up next?
I'll take this comment from Sean Coates.
Okay.
He says, The Saboteur. Such a pity it never got any sort of sequel. Plenty of other opportunities of betraying other World War II resistance groups. If memory serves, Pandemic Studios shuttered after this game. I think they technically shuttered before it.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is unfortunate. I would say I think The Saboteur did what it needed to do. I think the mechanic is cool. Like, it would be cool for other Revolutions, perhaps.
Is that the one where it was like in black and white, except for like the blood?
Yeah, but when you liberated areas, color came back.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, like the Wizard of Oz thing.
Yeah. I think the Saboteur is great. And then he also says, L.A. Noire, the facial capture technology we have now is leaps and bounds amazing versus what it was merely 10 years ago. I don't remember how the story ends to L.A. Noire, if they could continue Colefeld's story or simply play as a different detective in a different city. And once again, just like Pandemic, Team Bondi shuttered after this game too. Yeah, I didn't. It was on my list, but I didn't talk about it when Alyssa brought it up. But L.A. Noire 2, I think, would be extraordinary. Just be a different cop doing the same thing where you go through the different departments and everything in the 40s. I think that would be great. And you know, I don't know about you, Alyssa, but like I love L.A. Noire, and I do replay it like every 5 or so years. But the trick with replaying L.A. Noire is the fun is in figuring out the mystery. But once you know the case, you know, it can be tough to play it again because you already know how it's resolving. You know, and at that point, you just kind of feel like you're going through the motions. But what I loved about LA Noire was, in particular, was that like, you know, there were like 3 shootouts ever because you're a cop, you know, like you don't actually go down murdering everybody until the climax where, you know, all guns blazing. For most of the game, you barely ever fire your gun. I thought that was a bold choice for a $60 or $50 game. You
know how they could make a sequel to LA Noire successful nowadays?
Just add new cases.
Wait, no. What? Don't call it LA Noire. Call it Poker Face.
Yeah. Or call it LA Noire, or make it a platform. You know, once a month we'll put out a new case.
That would actually be a really good idea, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like the original package could probably be like 3 or 4,
right?
And then they keep adding other ones. That would be, and then just keep. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Just don't do it too long. You know what I mean? Like, remember when Telltale Games used to wait like 6 months to between episodes?
Yeah, that's infuriating. But I would say get your whole season done first and just unleash them one month at a time. But I would pay $10 a month for an LA Noire case.
Yeah, dude.
I would as well.
Good idea. Alyssa, you want to read the next one for us?
Sure. Peter Hines writes, Fur Fighters Vigo's Revenge, originally on Nintendo 64, then later on PS2, with awesome voice acting, published by Activision, I believe. An underrated gem. I wish this got a sequel, and the original a remaster. There were so many Easter eggs and nods to pop culture in that game. The only thing close I can think of is Conker's Bad Fur Day, actually another game that deserves a sequel.
I've never heard of this game.
I haven't either.
Fur Fighters.
Yeah, neither have I.
Yeah, that's, by the way, it's Peter Haynes, by the way.
Did I say Hines?
Yeah, you did.
I'm so sorry, Peter.
That's okay. I watched a student production of Oliver, so I had Hines in my head from that. I don't know if you've ever seen Oliver, but anyway. Not played that game, but I'll tell you one I have played, moving over to Discord, is Paul Hine, who's got my back. He says, straight up Crimson Skies. Why that hasn't happened? Who's the developer on that one, Zach?
Oh boy, I don't know. Because it was X. Oh my god, I don't know. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I just
Team. Oh my god, sorry. It's like right at the tip of my tongue. Anyway, just continue.
Anyway, if that developer still exists, can we please have another Crimson Skies? Because we don't get enough of. I don't even know how to describe it anymore. Like, everything doesn't have to be like hardcore AAA games. You know what I mean? Just give us that same formula with new levels, some voice acting. I just loved that game so much. Loved it.
FASA Studios.
I don't recognize the name.
They made the MechWarrior games. That's why I knew their name beforehand. And they made the Shadowrun multiplayer shooter as well.
That was successful, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't think it was, but
I thought people talked about the game very highly.
People in our social circles love it, Scott.
Is that what it is?
I love it. Aaron Peterson.
Population at large.
No, it was a huge bomb. Yeah, I loved it. But Crimson Skies High Road Revenge absolutely needs a sequel. Give us more of that, rocketeering adventure, as Scott was talking about. I think, I was saying before the show, I don't like to make bold proclamations, but I feel confident we've got to be the biggest Crimson Skies podcasts out there.
I don't know if I've heard anybody else ever talk about Crimson Skies.
We talk about it at least once a month.
It does feel like that, yeah.
It is such a cool game. I mean, I guess there's a pen and paper. Maybe there's somebody who's still playing the pen and paper version of the Crimson Skies out there. I don't know, but
I do want to go through the Discord comments. I know we're probably not going to read every single TikTok comment because we got a lot of TikTok comments this week. But Zach, will you take the next one on Discord for me?
Sure. Drew Ross says Full Spectrum Warrior. Love that game back on the OG Xbox. Was a unique military strategy game. You could also play with a friend in online co-op. Yeah, I love Full Spectrum Warrior. That game was awesome.
Is that the one where you would command your troops to go to like locations to do cover, or am I thinking of a different one? That's Graw. Mm-hmm.
No, you were right. I mean, Full Spectrum Warrior, you had a squad of 4, 2 squads of 4, and then it was almost like a strategy puzzle game.
But it was in 3D.
And you'd light up your Alpha unit here to lay down suppressing fire while you move your Bravo unit around to the side to fire on them from another angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game was ruled.
Nice. Alyssa?
Thomas Beck's Midnight Suns is a great game and definitely deserves a sequel.
I've yet to play that one. I hear such mixed reviews about it. I need to...
I mean, it says a lot that he thinks so highly of it, especially after what happened to his save file after 100 hours.
That's a good point. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Great memory, Alyssa.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't get past the dialogue. So I'm sure I'll check it out at some point.
I remember you said that Blade starts a book club because he's trying to woo Captain Marvel.
That is a thing that happens, yeah.
I mean, that would work on me, but I don't see...
You're not an intergalactic godlike being.
Sadly,
no. He's Blade. He would just talk to her.
I know.
I've read comics. I know this guy.
I mean, he'd ice skate uphill to go talk to her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Some mofo's gonna do it.
Rich Johnson over in Discord says, Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. Yes, I know there was a remaster. The gameplay was a cool and inventive variation on the FPS genre. That's an FPS game?
It is both.
Oh, okay. When I hear Oddworld, I think it was the 2D ones. But
Stranger's Wrath was an open world Western style game, but combat was first person shooter, and you had the ammunition that was alive. I don't know if you remember that at all.
I didn't play it. I just I remember seeing screenshots of it. I did not realize this was a. Is this another game in the series? Was that in all of them?
This is no. There was these are features exclusive to this version.
Oh, okay.
This game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Also, the story went places I didn't expect. The underlying motivation for the protagonist and the resolution of the ending could have made for a fascinating litany of potential sequels in and out of the same genre. Thanks,
Rich Johnson is not kidding, because there's a plot twist like 2/3 of the way through the game, in reference to the motivation of the protagonist. But once it happens, it fundamentally changes the gameplay for the rest of the game.
Oh, that's cool.
It is extraordinary. It is wonderfully done. And the first 2/3 is awesome because you're just basically the weird setting of Oddworld, but you're basically an Old West bounty hunter tracking down targets because you need to get a life-saving surgery. Is the basic premise. It gets a little more complicated.
Yeah,
but that's just like what it is for like 2/3. You just tracking down cool bounties and taking in the reward and using your live ammunition in different ways. It's a pretty great game.
So will that be adding to your collection of Western themed video games?
I already own it.
Oh, you do? Okay.
On Xbox and PS4.
Nice.
Physical both ways. Yeah, I think that game's great.
All right, Alyssa, you're up.
CJ Moore writes, Portal 2, Half-Life 2, there's your low-hanging fruit. Valve could knock it out with just one game. Half Portal Life could be a platformer puzzle shooter with 3 campaign parts. Shell getting to where she meets up with Gordon, same for Gordon, and then the mandatory 2-player finale campaign, similar to Portal 2's co-op campaign, where you solve puzzles that require portals and gravity nonsense with the added perks of killing aliens. We uncover secrets from Black Mesa and Aperture about the state of the world, yada yada, all while having 2 badass silent protagonists. Get on it, Valve. I can already hear you guys bashing my idea on the podcast, and I don't care, I want it. Thank you, CB, for telling us why it'll never happen, and thank you, Zack, for telling me why it's a narrative nightmare, but it's better than what we got now.
Well, I got good news for you, CJ. CB's not here, so he is
CB's
not going
here, no.
He's not going to bash your idea. But my only question is, do Portal and Half-Life exist in the same universe? And I just did not know that. Or
they do.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitive. I mean, GLaDOS is Still Alive song references Black Mesa.
Yeah, I do remember that. But I just thought I thought it was just a nod. I didn't realize they were in the same universe. So
yeah, I think it's the ending of the first game where when you escape the facility, like there's some kind of hint that it's in the same universe.
Huh.
Like there are crates that say Black Mesa or something. I don't totally remember.
I can recall that, yeah.
I actually like his idea. My only issue is that there is a subset of people that will not have played one or the other game. Like, for instance, my brother, who we're going to hear from later, does not play games a whole lot, but he absolutely adored Portal and Portal 2. I've actually played through the co-op with him, and that's something we haven't done in forever. But he's never played Half-Life. I haven't played through Half-Life either. But
I haven't either.
So all the Half-Life stuff would not make any sense to me. You know what I mean? So Portal fans would be like, I just want my Portal. I don't care about this other story going on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You would be like the fans I just discovered on the Control video game subreddit that are very upset that Alan Wake is in the same universe.
They're upset?
Yeah, because they don't want all the Alan Wake stuff to be a part of the Control stuff.
Why? Who cares?
I don't know, man. Well, I don't know why. Same reason you don't want the Half-Life stuff to be Portal stuff, I guess.
No, it's not that I don't want them to be in the same universe. I just don't want, to have to,
know intimately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I love the idea of a story where nobody can talk.
That's a really good point, man.
That'll be weird.
That is a good point.
I don't think it's a narrative nightmare, CJ Moore. I do think having these two characters meet is going to mean very little because they don't really have definable personalities.
They'll just look into each other's eyes, just gaze deeply. Yeah,
they'll just head nod towards each other, and they'll know what to do. I'm with you. I love that they're in the same universe. I love the shared universes of games because it's trickier to pull off. So it's impressive when it happens. But I don't. I think you're right, Scott. I think the audiences are very different.
Yeah,
for sure.
I love both, but I can tell you I prefer Half-Life.
Oh, really?
I wanted to play Half-Life, but it made me so motion sick I couldn't get past, I think, an hour.
Really?
Yeah, I just couldn't handle it.
Interesting.
I just think I like all the Half-Life 2 stuff where everyone calls you the free man, and you're like a celebrity right away.
Kind of like Doom Guy.
Kind of like Doom Guy, yes. Except the G-Man is such a cool villain. Oh, that guy.
Never got that far. Just never.
Oh, he's the intro of Half-Life 2, the weird creepy guy in the business suit.
I never got to 2. I started on 1 and I could not get through the platforming in that game.
You could just jump into 2, man. Come on.
Can you?
Definitely.
All right.
You never will.
All right. I got Bully, Darksiders, Shadow Complex, and Saboteur on my list of games that I want to play before summer's out.
I think you got to prioritize Bully.
You think so?
I think it's so good.
All right.
Or Shadow Complex, because you probably knock that out in like 4 hours.
I remember that being a pretty short.
Yeah. Because wasn't it only a $10 game when it came out?
I think so, and I still own
it. Was
obviously.
It was pretty cheap.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to read one real quick, Zach, before I go to yours. I'm going to let you read 2 in a row. Ferris74 says Terraria, but maybe it's a good thing there isn't a Terraria sequel. I guess that's like a Minecraft 2, not really a necessity. Yeah, I feel like that could just get an update, right?
I guess it would just be kind of... Because the only thing I think of for Terraria 2 would be like Terraria, but in 3D, which then is just Minecraft.
It is.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, Zach, you got a couple comments there. Why don't you go ahead?
All right, if you insist. Tim Paulin wrote, I've got 2. The Order 1886. I love this game. Yeah, it's short, but it's a great time. Enslaved Odyssey of the West. I feel like outside of the Go community, nobody's even heard of Enslaved. So good.
Really? Nobody here.
I mean, it didn't do very well. I know that.
It's such a great game, though.
I thought it was a very well-loved game. I feel like most people that I hear talk about it always talk about it very positively.
I think it's like the Smirk podcast, okay? Not a lot of people experience it, but those that do love it.
There you go.
Yes.
But I'm with him. I had the Order 1887 was on my list. The sequel to Order 1886 we'll never get.
I know that I like that as well.
That universe is too good to squander.
Seriously.
Away like this.
It's been so long since I've played that game. I could play it now and it would feel like the first time. Yes. I only played through it once.
I remember when that game came out because I just had my gallbladder removed. So I played that.
That's a very specific memory.
Yeah. That's how I remember.
Everything about the universe is great. It was so fleshed out. What a wonderful world. Give me more of that. I'll take a comic book. I'll take an animated series, a movie, anything.
Yeah.
I just want more of that universe. I think the game itself was great. I had a great time with it. But it
was like 4 hours long too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 hours. Yeah.
It was great.
It was great. I paid $60 for it and grinned ear to ear the whole time.
Yeah.
And you know what? I still think about it today. So maybe leave them wanting more. Then Tim Thane also writes in with Days Gone deserved a sequel. I tire of open world games, but this one did it right. It wasn't too big. You could mostly just follow the story and be fine, but it offered plenty of side content that was fun too. You either loved the hordes or they scared the crap out of you. I would be the later. It ended on a cliffhanger to star as one of genre's best actors. It's a shame Sony shut down any sequel chance. I'm with him. You guys know how I feel the open world fatigue, but Days Gone was an open world that came for you. You never got to rest. There was no lulls. Zombies are always coming out to get you, and or marauders. It was a great game, just a really fun game, and the story was a bit more complex than it seemed like at first, and it's hilarious that it has more than enough evidence to suggest it is in the Siphon Filter universe, which is hysterical. Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, I think Days Gone deserves a sequel. Sam Witwer deserves to be Deacon St. John's once again. All the motorcycle mechanics were great. How you had to really take care of it.
Oh yeah,
I love Days Gone. It's big fan of it.
To add that to my list too. I know CB owns that one, so I could just borrow that one.
Also, I think we're the podcast that really loves Sam Witwer as well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely. Come on, he's dreamy.
I know, right?
Is he the one you met? Or no, you met the director of... Who did you meet from Days Gone when we were at...
Yeah, the creative director, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you probably passed out if you met Sam Witwer, probably, right?
Yeah, I remember asking him, I was like, hey, what's it like working with Sam Witwer?
What's his hair smell like?
Does his eyes pierce your soul like they do when I'm watching him on television?
All right, so that is Facebook and Discord. We posted this question on TikTok this week, and we got a ton of responses. I wish we could read them all, but there is simply way too many to go through. So what we've done is we've all selected a handful of each that we're going to read through here. Thank you, everybody that commented. I really appreciate your feedback. And hopefully yours got read, but we gotta keep this from being a 4-hour podcast. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with Alyssa. And Alyssa, I want you just to kind of go through all of yours that you've selected, and then Zach will do his, and then I'll finish up with mine. Sound good?
Sound good.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
Go ahead.
There we go.
Sound good.
Yeah. JJ says, from the original Xbox, the game Black, the end left it completely open for a sequel. Now, I've never actually played Black, but I watched my uncle play it all the way through, and he played it 2 or 3 times, and I have fond memories of it, so that's kind of why I wanted to mention it, just because I watched him play it.
That one's on backwards compat, too, on the Series X and S.
Uh-huh, and I think it's on Game Pass, right?
Is it on Game Pass? Oh, man, even better.
Maybe I could be mistaken.
I feel like it was at least at one time.
Yeah. I have it downloaded. I guess I don't know if I can still access it or not. But I remember Black distinctly because of the detail to the guns, and I thought the reload animations were very in-depth, which I'm a big fan of. But also all the environmental destruction was, killer.
Cool. All right, go ahead.
Andrew Jeck writes, how about Murdered Soul Suspect? Smug face emoji.
What a great game.
I actually really enjoyed that game.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that was good.
I actually played through it twice. Once on 360 and once on Xbox One, because they released it on...
Really?
That came out right when both came out. So
I didn't know you liked it that much.
I liked achievements. I was
it was very easy to get the achievement.
Very easy achievements, so yeah.
All right.
I did like it, but
yeah,
I didn't like it enough to play it twice. I liked the achievements enough to play the second time.
Moving on to Mrs. Flimflam. Soul Reaver, please, and not a remake, part 3, the continuance of it. I would love it. Okay, I agree. I love Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, and I would love another addition to the franchise.
Did 2 end on a cliffhanger ending, or not finish the story, or?
Honestly, I can't say because I was so young when I played both of these games, I don't remember. But I loved them. I just cannot remember the ending.
Okay.
Well, I doing a part 3 would be difficult because you had Blood Omen, then Soul Reaver 1, then Soul Reaver 2, then Blood Omen 2, and then their storylines converged and concluded in Legacy of Kain Defiance. So I feel like there's an ending there. I think you could do a sequel, which I think is what that canceled game Dead Sun was supposed to be. But I think Dead Sun was like 100 years after or something, because Raziel and Kain's story is over. As with that game, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm mistaken. But I would love this. I think you need to reboot Soul Reaver. That's what I think.
I mean, I would take a reboot, yeah.
Reboot or remake.
Well, Mrs. Flimflam doesn't want a reboot. She wants a new game.
And I respect the hell out of that. Yeah. I would be a tough sell to modern audiences, I think, if you just whip out Soul Reaver 3 all of a sudden.
How long has it been? The PS2?
2005 was Defiance.
It was PS2.
Wow.
Yeah.
A long time.
Yes.
I've got a couple more. Pure Demon 67 says Mirror's Edge or Wet 2. Really fun parkour style action adventure games, which Mirror's Edge did have a sequel, but it was not as great as the first game, in my opinion.
It wasn't exactly quite a game, was it?
I argue against it. It wasn't a sequel. It was a reboot already 6 years after the first one. And like Scott said, it was an open world game instead of a linear platformer.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, as a Mirror's Edge fan, I did not think Mirror's Edge Cataclysm was a sequel. It was a whole other game, and it upset me.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I would take an actual sequel to Mirror's Edge. Catalyst, I wasn't a fan of, but I did actually enjoy Wet. I played that, and it was fun.
That was also Elisha Dushku, wasn't it?
It was.
What'd you say also?
Or we just talking about her in the movie?
No, that was Alicia Cuthbert.
Oh, Alicia Cuthbert.
In
Elisha
that movie.
Dushku was the one from the cheerleading movie. Had the tattoo in her
Bring
arm.
it on.
Yeah, bring it on. Yeah.
I'm really. Should I be embarrassed that that's where I know her from?
Oh,
no,
it's already been brought in.
This is not a cheerocracy.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I thought Wet was great. I don't need a sequel to it personally, but I thought it was wonderful.
It was fun, yeah.
Yeah.
And my last one is from Black Tiger Mask. 13. The game ended on a cliffhanger. I don't know if this is a spoiler. Revealing a larger conspiracy that we would have went up against in the sequel, but the sequel never came. Again, I did not play this game, but I watched my uncle play it. But he never actually finished it. So
your uncle liked shooters on the Xbox and PS2
era.
Yeah,
that's why he raised me on. That's why I never played a Mario game when I was a kid. I was raised on shooters and action games.
Or a Zelda game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never played basically no Nintendo games. My uncle was not a Nintendo fan for some reason.
He was an adult.
He was like, you're going to play these shooters and action games, and you're going to like it. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay.
If there aren't brains leaking out of skulls, it's not a game worth playing, Alyssa. That's your lesson.
It did not faze me at all to see that kind of stuff as a kid, which might explain why I am the way I am today.
I don't think the 13 sequel's never going to happen, is it? Because they had to remake their remake. I don't think that's doing them a lot of favors.
Yeah. At least you didn't have to pay for it if you'd already bought it. But still, I think the damage was done.
I just think it's got to be the only time in history where a game was remade. Well, I guess Final Fantasy XIV would be the only other example where you had to remake a game right away.
Mm-hmm. All right, Zach, you were up, man.
All right, let's start with Crazy Killer. He says, Conker's Bad Fur Day. They had one in planning until they were bought out, and then they were scrapped. So sad. Yeah, I mean, they did have Conker's another Bad Fur Day or next Bad Fur Day. That was for the Xbox buyout. But then when they were bought up with Xbox and they did Conker's Live and Reloaded, they yet again had a different sequel in development called Conker Getting Medieval, and that also never happened. So wonderful. I was never excited by Conker Getting Medieval because it was a multiplayer focused melee game, which is not what when I played Conker's Bad Fur Day. My first thought wasn't, boy, I wish this would be a multiplayer melee game. But I love Conker's Bad Fur Day. I would love to see another one. It was so ridiculous.
That's an expensive game to find the original copy of, by the way.
On N64, yeah. It was expensive when I was a kid, I remember.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to buy it after playing Live and Reloaded on Xbox. I was like, oh, I want to get the original. It was already $100 then.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, games are stupid expensive now.
Yeah,
I say that as a guy that's got 4 left on my collection, by the way.
Oh, not 5 anymore.
Yeah, I got another one. I bought Cliffhanger off of somebody on like Mercari or something like that. So,
is it good? Is it fun?
It's not here yet.
Oh, okay.
At least you don't have a cliffhanger buying that game anymore.
Hey. Sleep-starved nerd says Jade Empire, which I resoundingly concur with.
I blind bought that game off of your recommendation because it was on sale for like $2 the other day. So,
oh, nice.
I need to add that to my list.
That is a fun game, a fun universe.
Scott's just making a whole list over here about games he needs to play.
Well, at some point I'm going to get caught up. I'm actually close to being caught up on my reviews. I actually am caught up now because of my one published. So,
we're still neck and neck, by the way.
I know. Alyssa and I are like in competition to see who can produce more reviews in 2023. But I do. I mean, and I'm in a race with Zack to get through Final Fantasy 16 to see who's going to review that one.
We're all just in a competition.
Wow, actually, Conker's Bad Fur Day is not as bad as I thought it was. Did I say Fur Bay?
Fur Bay.
Fur Bay.
It's only $110 unless you have the box and manual. Then it is $300. So,
okay, yeah, that's actually not as bad as I would have thought.
I expected it to be much higher than that. So that is interesting.
You about to pick it up?
No. If I want to play it, CB has it. CB has a complete N64 collection. So.
Well, or play the Xbox version is the same game.
Oh, is it?
Just pretty, yeah.
Oh, well, I can do that then. If it Is it like an Xbox Live? Was it a downloadable game or was it a disc?
It's in Rare Replay.
Oh, okay, there you go. I used to own Rare Replay and I never played it. I'm mad at myself now. Oh well.
I'm pretty sure it's in Rare Replay. Well, it's all those games are on Game Pass anyway.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. All right, I'll add it.
I don't think it's essential. I just think a sequel would be fun because then that game has whole levels dedicated to parodying The Matrix or Saving Private Ryan.
Oh,
so it'd be fun to have a sequel with.
I never got to play that game, but it sounds so cool.
The Saving Private Ryan section's the best, which is probably why they made the multiplayer based on that.
Well, you would think they could still keep that going because there's always new movies coming out that have iconic stuff in them, right? Wouldn't that just be the fun thing to do?
Yeah.
Although licensing would be a nightmare, probably.
In the modern era. Well, you don't have to license it. It's parody. You can do whatever you want.
That's true.
Anyway, moving on from Jade Empire, which we obviously talked about in depth. Rudy Kukurik writes in, I wish they would bring back Splinter Cell or The Suffering. Now, Splinter Cell we talk about often, but The Suffering? Yo, those games rocked.
I played the first one and really enjoyed it.
Oh my god, Ties of Mind is excellent as well. It moves it into Baltimore. I would love a third Suffering game. I think probably better served again to do a reboot with this one, but I'd take a Suffering 3. Never going to happen. I don't even know who the hell would own the rights now.
I don't
the
know
developer and the publisher are both out of business.
Oh yeah, well that's not going to happen then. But I remember working at Blockbuster when that game came out, and that was one of the first games I remember that they had a label on it that you had to card somebody if they were renting it.
Really?
Oh.
Never played it, but isn't there like a guy in an electric chair on the cover or something?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They let you know what's up.
Yeah.
It was super cool because all the monsters were inspired by death penalty methods.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the enemies would have needles stuck all over them, and they would throw lethal injection needles at you. Was their attack?
Oh wow.
Or the electricity. People for the electric chair, or there'd be people with it had just gun rifles embedded in their face, and they would shoot at you like a firing squad.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty messed up.
It was pretty wicked, man. Moonchild 906 writes in, Alice Return to Madness. There was one on the PC. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we just got confirmation Alice 3 is not going to happen.
Yeah.
From Spicy Horse and Alex and American McGee, but if ever it could happen, I'd be down for it. Furzball writes in, I'm not sure about a sequel, but more games like PS2's Lifeline. More people need the frustration of early voice command only games.
I don't know what that is.
You guys remember Lifeline? It was a Namco game on PS2 that you had to have a headset to play.
Mm-hmm.
Because you played as a guy in the security room leading this woman around the space station to escape as aliens are attacking. But you would have to be like, attack right eye, and then hope that she understood you correctly and would begin attacking them in the right eye.
Oh, dude, I feel like we need to get this game and
Yeah.
YouTube it, us playing it or something.
Well, and imagine with 2003 voice recognition software.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would never,
it'd be
never
great.
work.
Playing with me because I don't hear my southern accent, other people do, and it messes everything up on voice recognition.
Bless your heart.
Bless my heart. You probably hear me just cursing the entire time because I'm like, it doesn't understand me.
Dude, but first of all, is right with frustration because you'd be like, "Hey, check that storage locker," and she'd be like, "This isn't a time to make a sandwich."
That's amazing.
It is amazing. It was. Oh, they really should. I think it has potential to do kind of a voice recognition game with today's technology.
Yeah.
But god damn, was it funny when she never listened.
Nice.
Shoot that guy. You're a pervert. What?
What?
Are these real things that happened?
The locker one is one I remember distinctly, yes.
Yeah. This is
but
no
I do
time
remember
to make a sandwich.
It's so weird. Michael Hunsinger writes in with Wrath Unleashed, original Xbox best tactics games I've ever played. Yo, Wrath Unleashed. I cannot believe this game is being referenced by anybody in 2023. But did you guys play this game?
No.
It was a strategy game on the original Xbox, as you said. It was like a hexagon grid, but it was somewhat akin to chess. But when you would try to take your opponent's territory, or more like Risk probably.
Mm-hmm.
But when you would take your opponent's territory, you were moving these like giant godlike beings around. Think the icons from FF16.
Oh, okay.
And you would move them around the battlefield, and then when you try to take your enemy territory, it would turn into a 2D fighting game.
Oh, that's cool.
And then the winner would get to take the territory or repel you or whatever.
Well, that reminds me of this is probably not a game that either of you know, but there was a game on Nintendo called North and South.
I definitely don't remember this.
No, I don't either.
It was based on the Civil War. So it was a 2-player game. One person was the North, and one person was the rebels, and it was all like trying to occupy the most space on the U.S. map. But if you tried to occupy the space that was taken by the other side, it would turn into this 2D platformer where one player was trying to get from point A to point B, like a Mario game, except it was like a fort, and there were ladders and stuff. And then there was the second player was the opposite side and had to try to kill you, as you try to get to like the flagpole at the end or whatever. But the enemy side had only a limited number of lives, to be able to try to stop them. The person that was actually trying to go forward they couldn't be killed. They could just be hindered, more or less. They had infinite lives. But the team stopping had a limited amount of lives. And it was super fun. Not only that, but then there was open field battles where each side had an infantry, a cavalry, and a cannon, and you had to flip back and forth between those and try to attack the other team. Dude, you got to look up this game.
Dude, this game sounds cool as hell.
It is so much fun. We actually did a Patreon episode on it before you guys were here. I freaking love that game. It is. I actually brought it to like a friend's house. We were all sitting around drinking or whatever, and everybody was super into that game. Sat and played that game for hours, like taking turns. It was really good. So,
wow, that actually sounds legitimately amazing. I really want to play this game.
My brother and I used to rent it from the store when I was a kid. We played it all the time, and it was a lot of fun.
I assume you own it, right, with your NES collection?
I do. So when you're here, man, we'll play some. We remember. We'll play some North and South.
Yeah, I'll try to remember. I don't know. I'm legitimately interested, so I hope I do remember.
All right, I hope so too. It's a lot to remember, but all right, my turn. I'm going to try to go through these quickly. First off, I had to read this one because I think this is the first time in the entire time that I've been recording episodes. So this is like our 459th podcast episode. My brother commented on our post, probably because I did it on TikTok. So this is my brother, Marshall Maddox. He says, technically it did get a sequel, but why the wildly popular Portal didn't get a third go is beyond me. Marshall, I know you're not listening, but the reason is that Valve can't count to 3, or Gabe Newell can't count to 3. So,
Gabe Newell's afraid.
But hopefully he is listening. I don't think he is, but what's up, bro? I don't know how to pronounce this one. Reiji Soma? The Secret of Evermore SNES. I'd really like to see a remake of it as well. That's another one I never completed, but I remember one of the coolest box arts of SNES for me. And I feel like it was a sequel to Secret of Mana, because they maybe just because they had Secret of in the beginning of the title, but I love that one. That was the first game I remember you could name your dog as well. Oh. I'll never forget, because I was watching my buddy Tim play the game, and he named his dog Butt Nugget. And I don't know why that has stuck with me, but because every time you die, it says, sadly, Tim and Butt Nugget were never heard from again. It's just always stuck with me. So, Core the Nord says Bastion 2 and Super Mario RPG 2. What a great game Bastion was. I don't know if it was because the gameplay was great, or I just remember the voice acting and music being so awesome in Bastion.
The game was great too.
I remember liking it, but Super Mario RPG, I feel like that whole series just became Paper Mario and then Superstar Saga and
right.
All that.
You kind of got those sequels.
But there's something about the original Super Mario RPG that felt like a Square. It was a SquareSoft game,
right?
Just like an actual legit turn-based JRPG. That I don't know. I love the Paper Mario games and the other ones, but those are very, like, if you say Pokemon is baby's first RPG, I feel like Super Mario or Paper Mario is just a slight step above that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Legend of the Seven Stars was such a great RPG. I cannot wait to play that. I already pre-ordered the The
remake?
The remake, yeah. Shout out to David Newman, who has a subscription to whatever service Best Buy has that lets you buy 2, get 1 free. He hooked me up. We split 3 games 3 ways, so I got those for like $40 or something.
Oh, even on pre-orders that you do that?
On pre-orders, yeah. So
that's cool.
I got that
cool.
and Super Mario Wonder, and I think he got Smash Brothers because he just got a Switch recently and didn't have Smash Brothers, so worked out well. Let's see. Elevate and Levitate says Faxanadu NES and Uniracers SNES. Boy, Uniracers was such a unique, weird game. I don't see that ever happening, but I appreciate the reference because I thought I was the only person in the world that knew that game existed. Because man, that's a random one.
Yeah, I sure as hell don't.
It was like, imagine if Sonic were a unicycle, and it was split screen, and you were racing your unicycle against your friend's unicycle from left to right or right to left. That's literally what the game is. What a weird concept that is.
Games used to be so simple.
I know. Faxanadu on NES, though, was a game I loved as a kid. That was one of my first. Like, I don't consider that like a Japanese RPG. Like, it's not turn-based or anything. It was very action-y, but it was one of the first games I played where you actually go talk to townspeople, and you got to go speak to the king first at the beginning of the game, and he sets you off on your quest to give you your gold, and then you just go on this adventure. I just have really good memories of that one. Let's see, do I have any left? I got one more, I think. Yeah. DJ Zana says F-Zero definitely deserves another sequel. I know there were sequels to F-Zero. There was a one on GameCube. Why has Nintendo not done anything with that franchise?
It's beyond me. I have no idea.
It seems so easy that like people would buy that in a heartbeat. Even like I feel like that would even appeal to. Maybe they just don't want to compete with Mario Kart. They don't want to like cannibalize those sales.
What cannibalize? I feel like they've sold more copies than they've sold Switches.
That's what I'm saying. If they had released an F-Zero, would they have not sold as much?
Well, I'm saying they've sold so many now that you can probably whip up an F-Zero without worrying about it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
Or maybe F-Zero would be a great Switch 2 launch title, a new F-Zero.
Oh man. I miss launch releases like that where there was like just like 3 or 4 games and you just had to have all of them.
Right, they're all bangers.
Yeah. So good.
Now it's like, oh, here's that Tomb Raider game that came out 2 years ago, but prettier.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody that wrote in and gave us these answers to the topic. I really appreciate it. It was so much fun. I'm sorry we could not read everybody's on TikTok. Seriously, guys, there was like 67 comments. That was amazing. I do appreciate that, but we just could not read them all. Next week, we are going to be doing the age-old argument: what's better, digital media or physical media?
Oh boy!
I have a feeling we're gonna throw down, but I feel like we have to do a poll for that one. Like, do a poll on Facebook, do a poll, and like, where does everybody vote? Vote for one, and then give us an explanation in the comments. That'll be fun to duke it out. So. Fun fact, I recorded with Chris a video of him asking this question for our TikTok channel. I have some outtakes that are freaking hysterical that I got to share with you guys at some point. Because
all right,
it took him several takes to get that down, and it was too. But thank you, everybody. That's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. This episode, as most of the more recent ones, was produced by Kevin Honigford. And all the music you hear throughout the episode is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemagemusic.com, STEMAGE music.com. And I know we don't say this enough. Go check out his stuff, guys. He puts some really great stuff together, and you'll hear his games in music as well. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zach, do you have any parting words or recommendations for our listener?
You know what? I'm going to recommend American Pie.
Yeah?
Because I watched it. I was looking for a July 4th movie to watch. I was like, what represents America? And I was like, nothing represents America more than desperately wanting to get laid before prom.
Yeah.
That's and eating hot dogs as well. They do a lot. I think that movie is delightful. It was one of my favorite movies as a kid. It was my go-to favorite for my mom to put on to occupy me while she went out. And it's it felt warm and fuzzy watching again. Honestly, there's definitely one scene where I think modern audiences would have quite a problem.
Oh yeah,
with it.
The Nadia scene.
The Nadia scene, yeah. Absolutely. Because even rewatching, like, yeah, this is a little skeezy. But you could also totally, I'm sure this happens more often than it ever did in '99. Anyway,
yeah.
It's a delightful movie, and it sneaks up on you by the end of being actually, kind of heartwarming.
Yeah, and there are with his dad. There's heartwarming moments with his
dad, or the kids. Several of the boys learn that, or there's more important things than sex.
Mm-hmm.
There's genuinely, and there's kind of a bittersweet ending for some of them. And then, of course, one of them gets to bang the hot mom. So you at least get something funny as well.
So many quotable lines in that movie too.
Oh my god! Where's your liquor? We'll have some scotch. Aged 18 years, the way I like it.
Another movie you could not make today. I feel like.
Oh my god! No way, dude. Yeah. But it's so good.
And I will say that 2 and 3 were whatever, but Reunion was worth a watch.
I love 2. But you're right. Reunion is great.
Yeah, Reunion felt like going back and reminiscing about the first one. It was really great.
Yeah, and it was fun. And had some fun because there are like 18-year-olds giving them trouble. They're like, God damn it, were we like this?
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah. Alyssa,
oh, what a good movie.
I agree. Alyssa, what about you?
I've been watching an anime, which I think a lot of anime watchers have already seen, but it's Code Geass. Really enjoying it. It did take a couple episodes for me to get into. At first, I'm like, I don't know if I like this. Third episode hit, I'm like, yeah, I like it. There's a lot going on. Like, there's so many different genres covered in this series. It's sci-fi, mystery, thriller. It's got a little bit of romance. There's some mech action in it. There's a lot going on. Lelouch Lamperouche is just a great protagonist. And yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns. And I'm almost finished with it. And I'm going to be sad when I finish it. But it's a fantastic anime. And I wish I'd watched it sooner. But better late than never.
Right.
Yeah.
This is considered like a classic, right?
Some people do consider it a classic, yeah.
Yeah.
It just depends on the person. Some people absolutely hate this anime, and they're like, "No, it's not a classic."
I feel like I've only heard of its positive reputation.
I mostly heard positive things, but I have heard people say it's trash, which I don't think it is. But to each their own.
Fair enough. Mine is also going to be somewhat movie related. I kind of want to challenge everybody to think of a movie that you remember not liking when you watched it the original time, and consider giving it a second chance. I had 2 examples of this where I kind of turned around. The first time I saw the movie Prometheus, I absolutely hated it. I think it was because I wanted it to be a aliens origin story, and even though that is kind of what it was going for a different direction that I just was not willing to accept at the time because it wasn't what I wanted. And I somewhat recently rewatched that and wound up really liking it after I was able to go into it with a different mindset and appreciated that movie for what it was. And more recently, last night, I rewatched Christopher Nolan's Interstellar, which I have not seen since it was in the theater. And I remember I was so excited for that movie, and it wound up not being what I expected, and it was a little weird. And I will say I still do have an issue with its ending, but I thought that movie was just a lot of fun and did not feel like 2 hours and 42 minutes. That I did not know that movie was that long when I sat down to watch it last night. But what a killer soundtrack, too. I've been using... That's my new go-to soundtrack when I'm trying to do some writing or something. It's an awesome, awesome soundtrack. Have you guys both?
I've never actually seen Interstellar.
I haven't either.
I really liked it. There were some fun surprises, like people pop up in that movie that you don't know were in the movie, for not even a cameo, like vital roles that it was never advertised and stuff. So that's fun. But if you haven't seen it, I would be really curious to hear what you guys think of it and see if you have an interesting. What your take on the ending is, because I love parts of the ending, but I have a somewhat of an issue with the ending as well. It's on Amazon Prime.
I remember. I don't have Amazon Prime. I remember when Letterboxd, I think it was last year, they put out top ranked movies by men and women.
Uh-huh.
and I remember the number one male movie is Interstellar.
Really?
Which I thought was so weird.
I'm going to look at the list still.
I think it makes sense when you think it through, because if you're on Letterboxd, you probably think of yourself as more of a cinephile, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even if you're not, but
I feel called out.
but then Interstellar is also kind of mainstream enough, but it is relatively approaching smart subject matter for a mainstream movie.
Yeah.
So I could see how it could get to the top of the list.
All right.
By people that,
so just
take films
numbers by proxy kind of thing. Like it's
yes, exactly. Yeah. It floats to the top by being both mass market and heady enough where people can feel smart if they love it.
Right.
I'm not saying people don't love it generally. I could just see how, by an aggregate of humanity, it would reach the top of it.
And don't get me wrong, like this wouldn't make my top 100 or anything like that. It's just I was just really. I remember walking out of the theater being disappointed because I think that came out after Inception, which I just freaking loved.
So good.
Yeah, amazing movie.
I just was expecting the next Inception, and I got something else that was cerebral in a different way that just felt kind of cheap by the end. But I still think it's totally worth watching. And the actor that they got a little girl to play like a young Jessica Chastain. That is just, it's uncanny. I swear it's like that girl could pass for her daughter. Like they look that similar. It's kind of so.
Did you watch it in preparation of Oppenheimer?
No, actually, my wife just started watching it without me, and she only got like about 20 minutes into it, and she's like, "Oh, I started watching this movie. You want to finish it?" I was like, "I haven't seen it since the theater. I'll just give it a shot," and I really enjoyed it. I really had fun with it. So go try older movies that you thought you didn't like from yesteryear.
Like older movies, 2015.
That was 2015.
Right, that would have been after The Dark Knight Rises.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's 2015.
Well, yes, I don't mean like classic, like 40, 50, 60-year-old movies. Yeah, I know.
I just thought it was funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Zach, thank you so much for being here. Alyssa, it's been a pleasure as always. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zack Parkerson and Alyssa White, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.